1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He goes, the natty? Really? He said it was like someone calling something cool the bomb. I think people are still saying the natty.
This is not about hip or not hip. It's not like any 21-year-old walking in Brooklyn and saying the natty.
Do you call winning the championship the chip?
And if you had said he's got 2 chips, oh boy, I would have really given you a look.
Washed has somehow maintained a much longer presence than it ever should have.
I get my lettuce at the grocery store triple wide.
This is the man claiming to be the coolest person on the show.
I'm definitely hipper than Ack.
Ackerman,
I don't know about
you gonna
that.
take
I
that?
wouldn't go there.
Doing a Ralph Lauren polo 3/4.
Yeah,
sure.
What's wrong with that? A little
You
class.
make Eli Manning look like he's ready to walk the catwalk at Fashion Week.
Who, you Ralph Lauren himself?
When did the Mannings become fashion icons?
They did not.
Step off, Dad.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
Oh, what up and welcome to the show. It's Maggie and Perloff. It's Thursday. We're across the country on CBS Sports Radio. We're streaming live, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Come on in, get in the chat, say what's up to the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers. Alabama has their pro day going on today, Perloff. You are locked in.
Oh, I mean, look at the completion percentage from Bryce Young. It's stunning, Maggie.
Yeah, 99%. It's wild.
Yeah, there was a drop or two in there. I used to love pro days because it's a way to talk about draft prospects. For some reason, the two that we've seen this week, CJ Stroud at Ohio State and Bryce Young at Alabama, are the two dumbest things I've ever seen on television in my entire life.
Dumbest? Why?
Well, this is working out in shorts times 1,000. Last year, I got fooled by Malik Willis had a workout. And he was gunning that ball all over the field. The guys in the workout do this thing where they roll against their body and throw the ball 90 yards down the field.
Yeah, we call that the Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
it was
Zach
a thing
Wilson
of beauty
did it.
when Zach Wilson did it. Couldn't throw a 5-yard out route in the NFL, but sure.
Yeah, same with Malik. Malik Willis threw the ball the length of the entire field. It was unbelievable. And everyone put him in their mock draft in the first round, and then it completely faded.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Tennessee needed Josh Dobbs at the end of the season because Malik Willis couldn't complete a pass.
He wasn't ready to play NFL football.
Right.
I mean, he might be good down the road. He went in the third round. And he was a great runner. But that's the thing. We get all hyped up about these pre-draft processes, and I think we make a lot of mistakes. The question I have today, Maggie, is Bryce Young, Alabama quarterback, did not get weighed.
No.
He was 204 at the combine.
Smart play.
But I think teams are actually see that 204 at the combine and say, you know what, I'm comfortable with that. Should we even put any stock into things like what you weigh at the combine?
Yeah, well, I think it's a smart move by him not to get weighed today. He crammed for the test at the combine, passed it, if you want to say, got over 200 pounds, if that's passing the test. And now, I mean, all that water weight, whatever he was doing, you're not going to keep that up. And so I bet he weighs like 190 right now.
Right. Don't teams know this?
They know it.
Why are they putting on this charade? If the teams know this, everybody knows it. What's the point of all this?
No, I get it. I mean, he didn't throw at the combine, so he's throwing today. Listen, the thing about Bryce Young is you either think he's the second coming or you think he's going to end up on the sidelines with an injury before you even get to November. Like, I don't know which one is going to be true, but that's how this is going with Bryce Young. You watch his tape at Alabama, he's awesome. He makes all the throws. He's got the anticipation, intangibles, all that stuff. But do you think that he will survive in the NFL being as small as he is? It's not that we've never had short quarterbacks, and it's not that we've never had slight quarterbacks. We rarely have seen someone who's slight and short. So you watch guys like Tua who get crumpled during the season, and you wonder, can Bryce Young hold up? That's why I would not draft him. And if it means I'm passing on a generational talent, well, then I'm the idiot, because I want someone who's going to be available, and I don't know if he's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I
think people have made up their minds.
I don't think he's a generational talent, because he is a short quarterback too, so he's going to have to move way back from the line to see the field. It's really, he's not going to be Peyton Manning. I don't think people viewing him as that kind of prospect. I think in a normal, if there was a Trevor Lawrence in this draft, nobody'd be talking about Bryce Young at number one. There was
probably not, but he's got the bona fides. I mean, he's a Heisman Trophy
winner. But I think
quarterback at Alabama. I don't
think this. I think this whole quarterback class is driven more by these teams need a quarterback and they can't pass on him anymore. I think if it was a richer quarterback class, and a guy like Bryce Young might go 5, 6, 7, 8 instead of 1, 2, or 3.
Well, I think I think this is a better class than last year. Even if I have my reservations, obviously, if I have my reservations about Bryce Young, but you do have a CJ Stroud here, who by all accounts looks like the Panthers have fallen in love.
But what's the difference between CJ Stroud and Justin Fields?
Yeah, but I mean, Fields
should have been a better prospect, and he went 11.
I know, but Fields probably, if we do that, and if we see let's see the season that Fields has this year, because now he's got a few more weapons. Right. Obviously, DJ Moore, that was the big trade. Let's see how he does this year, and then maybe if we did that draft over again, he's probably going in the top 5.
Well, I mean, the fact is, he threw 42 touchdowns at Ohio State and fell to number 11. I mean, he'd be number 1 in this draft by. Just basically, he was as good a thrower as CJ Stroud and a much better runner. Even though he didn't run that much at Ohio State, he's a much better athlete than CJ Stroud. He'd probably be number 1 in this draft, and he was the 4th quarterback taken in his own draft.
So you think that these guys are going to fall?
I don't think these guys are going to fall. I think these guys are being pushed up by demand.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of teams felt burned by 2 years ago when this happened.
Well, last year, everyone stayed away.
Everyone stayed away. 2 years ago, quarterbacks were way overdrafted.
Well, Lawrence wasn't, but Zach Wilson and Trey Lance appear to be.
Yeah, I think Mac Jones was too, probably.
Yeah.
So that's 3 out of the top 5 and top 15 picks. So I think teams were scared after last year. They said, "Oh my gosh, the Niners just took Trey Lance at number 3. That's a huge mistake. He wasn't proven."
They still need a quarterback.
So but this year it seems cyclical. It's all demand. I remember the draft that Jake Locker went number 8, Blaine Gabbert went number 12, and Christian Ponder went number 12.
Yeah.
Christian Ponder went 12 to the Vikings.
Yeah.
Did I get it right? It was Locker 8.
I thought Gabbert went 10.
Yeah, it was Gabbert 8. Sorry. Locker 8, Gabbert 10, Ponder 12. It was such a quarterback-needy set of teams, and everyone's like, oh, wow, we really screwed this up. I think this year is closer to that. I think we're going to look back on this and say, whoa, we overdrafted these guys.
Wow. Well, it's funny because last year you had a lot of teams that needed quarterbacks, and they decided, no. Like, we saw the caliber, and we're still going to pass. Like, for example, the New York Giants had two picks in the top 15 or whatever. They passed. Houston still needed a quarterback. They passed. Like, there was a lot of teams who were picking high who still decided to pass. As for this year, I think more teams are going to be jumping in here on these quarterbacks, the exact opposite. We found out last night that not only did Bryce Young go to dinner with the Panthers, so we'd expect that, but they have the number 1 pick, but he also then met after dinner. What's that, dessert then? Maybe a coffee, whatever, with the Raiders. And the Raiders is interesting, and I know it got Stu's attention. The Raiders are sitting at 7 right now. So, listen, you do your due diligence, no doubt. You want to cross every T. But I think the Raiders are legitimately in the market for a quarterback. I bet they end up meeting with all of these guys, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see the Raiders as the team that trades with Arizona to get to that 3rd spot and jump the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay. I think that makes perfect sense. The question is,
they got Jimmy Garoppolo, but it's like the guaranteed money on that is not going to prevent you from drafting a quarterback.
Yeah, so if you trade to 3, you're trying to get ahead of number 4, who's Indianapolis, who also needs a quarterback.
Sure.
That's really interesting because it's got to be Anthony Richardson's probably the odds-on favorite to be the number 3 pick. Actually, the interesting thing, too, is Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson's odds are almost identical to be number one overall. So he's in this mix as well. There are a lot of teams, in other words, report the Panthers love Anthony Richardson. Who knows? So I just think there could be chaos. I think it looks right now, Stroud's going to Carolina, Bryce Young's going to Houston. So if the Raiders trade up to number 3, that has to be for Richardson, right?
Richardson or Levis?
Yeah, I mean, the Vegas odds on Levis have fallen off a cliff.
Well, I mean, did they watch the tape? No offense to Will Levis, but, like, the tape's not great. And for Anthony Richardson, there's still, like, again, the tape is not amazing with Richardson, too.
Yeah, what if, okay, let me just paint one scenario. They met with Bryce Young. What if, for some reason, Houston likes Anthony Richardson? I don't think that's going to happen. And then Bryce Young falls to 3. Do you think there'd be a frenzy to get up to number 3?
Listen, again, I think yes, but I also think that teams have to be, when you talk about things being cyclical, we saw 70 quarterbacks start games last year. Like, I know that just because you're 6'5" and an Adonis doesn't mean you can't get hurt, but it might help your chances. It might keep you a little bit more healthy, and it might mean, okay, say you're Joe Burrow and you have an ACL tear your first year, but knock on wood for Burrow, he's been healthy ever since. Like, maybe you're able to withstand a few more hits that would knock a smaller guy out for a long time.
I'd like to see the data on that.
Well, I mean, who do we call?
No, Drew Brees had a consecutive game record going. Eli and Tom Brady were never muscular, and they played every single game.
Yeah.
You know, I totally hear you, and I believe it.
But Drew Brees, as a small quarterback, did have a terrible shoulder injury, and his story is, you know, what he overcame and the perception and all of that, because no one thought he'd come back from that.
But he went years without being injured. And I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit. I do kind of agree with you.
Yeah.
But I think the key to a quarterback, a guy like Tom Brady or Eli Manning, they have no muscle on their bodies whatsoever for a long time.
That's mean.
Well, I'm just saying
it's called pliability.
But Eli, come on, Eli. But the thing is, those guys knew how to get rid of the ball. That seems to be the most important thing to getting healthy.
That's true.
Bryce Young, he's not going to be able to hold on to the ball. Tua held on to the ball. That's what was killing Tua. When he got rid of the ball, he could not get hurt. But I think it's his style. There's a lot of factors. But wait, can we just set the scene here?
Yeah.
I think we both agree that it's going Stroud Young 1 and 2. If we had to do a mock draft right now, right here, Maggie and Perloff show, March 23rd.
No. I am not buying this. I said the day that the Panthers traded up to 1, I thought it was for Bryce Young. And I'm going to stick with it. I know it looks like a CJ Stroud love affair, but I still think that it was about Bryce Young. Now, listen, they might have said, we might as well trade up to 1. We're not going to trade with Arizona and let, Houston throw an oopsie-doop here. But I still think it was for Bryce Young. Now,
what about the Carolina team showing up with basically a Stroud number 8 jersey?
I know.
That's right.
Doing the introductory press conference. It was a little weird, I know.
I mean, if that was a smoke signal, that was a good one, because I've never seen a love fest at a pro day like that in my entire life.
It was like, is CJ Stroud, is it also his wedding day? Like, is he getting married? Why is everybody here?
Why is he hugging the Panthers executives like he's known them his whole life?
Maybe he's known them for a while. Secret text messages? I have no clue. We're all trying to decipher this sound that was picked up on, I don't know whose mic. This is Josh McCown, the quarterback's coach for the Panthers, talking to CJ Stroud.
Just right here, come on.
Okay. Well, no,
I got to do a little meeting. What kind of I'm going to take his money.
What?
Okay.
What? Game a horse, I'm going to take his money? Can someone decipher?
So, okay. Vamp for a second, because I have the exact. He said maybe when you live in Charlotte, we'll find a court. Now, I did not hear that at all. Is there any way, Stu, you could do some magic to figure out those words?
No. Stu and the FBI couldn't make that thing sound better. I mean, no, there's no way. We don't have that kind of capabilities around here.
Maybe. Well, this is what you have to do, the pre-draft process. I think you need FBI technology to figure out who's taking who. Maybe when you live in Charlotte, we'll find a court. Why would Josh McCown say that to CJ Stroud?
Listen, one time Josh McCown told me, it's nice to meet you. Did I think he really meant that? No, he was lying to my face.
I totally disagree.
Josh McCown, known liar.
Josh McCown's like the nicest guy in the entire industry. You don't think he felt nice to meet you?
He said nice to meet you, and I was like, that's a lie.
Get out of here.
No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
I was talking to Josh the other day about you.
I don't know if he was lying about saying nice to meet you.
I got to do a little meeting. I'm going to take his money.
I heard I'm going to take his money.
I heard the word Charlotte in there. Did you guys hear Charlotte?
I got to do a little meeting.
Also, what two guys are getting together to play a game of horse?
Wow.
That's so late. What are you, in second grade? Get together. Let's get together and play a game of horse. Like, yeah, I'm sure you don't want to play pickup because you don't want to injure your knee or something before training camp. Like, two guys getting together for a game of horse is lame.
It's very responsible of Josh McCown not to get his quarterback injured.
I guess you can get together for some ping pong. I mean, anything is better than playing horse.
Pickleball.
I'm watching the video.
Oh my gosh, I was walking down the street in New York City the other day on the way to the radio station, and there's like a schoolyard, and it has a wall that you can like hit tennis balls against, like to practice by yourself. And someone was doing pickleball, and they were training. I was like, what?
It's becoming an epidemic because people around the city are complaining left and right about the noise of pickleball. It has become a major problem.
The noise.
Yeah. Yeah, because the sound of the paddle and the ball, it's a plastic ball and a paddle, it's become like a nuisance. People all over the city are complaining, calling the police to come over. It's been crazy.
What?
Yeah.
Live in New York City. There's a siren every 14 seconds around
these pickleball players get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. They find whatever court they can, and they're just banging around while people are trying to sleep.
There's also a crisis. There's not enough court space for pickleball because the demand is
That's in the suburbs, too. That's not just in the city.
I know. It's a problem for us pickleballers. It's like 38 degrees in the morning, and I'll go running, and the courts are already 6 people deep with wind.
I think it's a nice sound. It's like a clip, clop, clip, clop. Yeah.
But yeah, by the way, I was going to say I was watching the McCown Stroud comments.
Yeah.
They're hugging each other. When I got married, I had 4 best men.
Yeah.
They did not congratulate. They were not as comfortable with each other as CJ Stroud and these guys are. What is going on with Frank Reich, Josh McCown, and these owners?
I don't know. These athletes are just better at these bro hugs, you know?
The bro hugging, that's also I noticed. They're so good at bro hugs. They're so comfortable.
I know.
It's a one motion. They're probably quite athletic.
I think this is why guys want to be professional athletes. No, you want to be for the money and the fame and the competition and all that. But I think that's the thing guys are jealous of like these men. Just like they get to cry, they get to show emotion, they get to hug, no judgment,
absolutely.
Everything's good.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a little terrified of the bro hug in general. Remember we had the cocktail party at the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I was so afraid. I'm like, oh, am I going to have to go straight handshake with these casual acquaintances? Or bro hugs. And it was almost all bro hugs. And I'd say 83% of them were awkward.
I know. I also was hugging people.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
you have to. They showed up at your party.
Right. And if you're a woman to a man who's in your industry, is a hug or kiss on the cheek? Like
generally, no kissing on the cheek. Generally, it's the woman initiates the hug.
And
that's probably just a word of wisdom for everybody.
Okay. Now, what about kiss on the cheek when it is your wife's friend? Hug? Because that
I don't think my husband kisses any of my friends on the cheek.
All right.
No, he doesn't. I just go by my husband on this one. And I don't think my brother would kiss my friends on the cheek either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it count as a kiss on the cheek if you do the cheek to cheek and then kiss the air kind of thing?
Like Europeans?
Like European. Like very Miami
you're not actually
thing.
putting your lip on their cheek. You're going kind of cheek to cheek and then making a kissing sound.
Oh, that's another thing.
That's just funny glimpse into Sandra's life.
Well, no, I mean, I know my sister's family. Like that's what I do. And I say hello. But it's not actually a kiss on the cheek. It's just cheek to cheek.
No, I've had people kiss me on the cheek, like a colleagues, like acquaintances, and it's like it's crazy. I'm just like, whoa, you just did that. Not like in a bad way, just like it's like my uncle or something. Yeah,
it's weird.
But have you guys ever run into the European kiss? It's quite terrifying.
The double kiss.
The double kiss, and somebody who you know's double kisses because they're from overseas.
Yep.
Oh,
one person in my life.
That maybe's happened to me twice, and I think I had a small panic attack both times. So I'm like, can I execute the double kiss?
Perloff had a stroke.
Yeah, the double kiss, because I'm afraid either I'm going to miss them by 3 feet or I'm accidentally going to kiss their eye. I don't know what's going to happen.
How are you an athlete? How'd you play basketball?
You're very tall, so I guess that makes sense.
I'm a pretty good bro hugger. No, it's just anxiety because basically, since 6th grade, I've had no idea how to be around women. So this kiss, hug.
This is
Wait, don't you guys the same way?
But now you're surrounded by women. Wife, 2 daughters.
Yeah. And I'm out, man. Wait, are you guys? Do you find it awkward to whether to hug kiss. Or no? Just like, do I hug a woman? Do I kiss her on the cheek?
The hug is always a dilemma.
Yeah, it's a dilemma.
I feel like what Maggie said about the woman initiating it is probably the best way to go.
I'm here to help. Salute.
Why can't we bro hug women? That would solve everything.
A little closed fist pat in the back.
Yeah, the double pat.
Bring them in, Key and Peele style.
Yeah, but it's got to be the closed fist. Yeah, exactly.
The Barrio sketch. Yeah.
If you bro hugged, gave me a pat on the back like that, I don't think I'd like it. I don't think I would.
I like it.
No, it's something I'm getting pulled in. I don't know about that.
Men are very comfortable with that. It's better than a real hug. That's way too much intimacy.
Yeah, the bro hug is like an aggressive pull in. It's not like a little hug. It's an aggressive pull.
But
that's why I think that's what turns women off. I think
it's not that intimate though. It's not as intimate as a real hug.
It's not intimate. It's aggressive.
Yeah.
It's men being men.
Yeah, that's true.
Keep telling yourselves that.
You think bro hugs are not manly? They're the most manly expression you can have.
Yeah, keep patting each other on the butt. Anyway, so CJ Stroud's going to Carolina, right? Is that what we got?
I think you're onto something. I think it could be Bryce Young, which will cause chaos because then we know Houston won't draft Stroud because Stroud has Deshaun Watson's agent and they hate each other with a passion.
Oh, is that right?
And they're like all Houston blogs say that they're out on Stroud 100%. Because of that issue.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, so...
But that's just Houston blogs. All the draft coverage in Houston says it's Bryce Young or bust.
Okay, so if the Panthers... you think if the Panthers take Bryce Young,
yes,
Houston trades out of the pick?
Houston...
or takes Richardson?
I don't know if something like that is a real issue. But listen, David Mulugheta and Deshaun Watson in Houston were not on the same page. For a 2-year period, it was a real problem.
Right. Watson's agent and the Houston...
And also, too... So, do you go Anthony Richardson or you trade down if you don't want Stroud? Stroud is...
You trade down.
I don't think Stroud is for everybody either. I think a lot of people are scared of the Ohio State thing. I mean, I like him, but, man. I tell you, Meg, it's not a great class.
This is why the pro days are important. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, and we learned a lot about bro hugs there. Coming up, Ja Morant returned last night. We'll tell you what really had people talking, though. Also, the latest from LeBron James. Got a lot to do. Want to hear from you. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Nebby Z in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio says, Maggie, if I ever show up to an event, I just want the fist bump. You got it. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff straight ahead.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We're back on Maggie and Perloff. One thing, we're at the end of last night, we were talking about the best kind of greeting, a bro hug, a handshake. Fist bump is number one in my book because it's germ-free.
Yep.
You can initiate it by just walking up to somebody with a fist,
Yep.
and they know exactly what to do. There's no handshake versus hug controversy, and it's better than a handshake, but it's not quite a hug. It's perfect.
I know the one problem though is if someone goes for the high five and another person goes for the fist bump.
Oh, the gobbler?
Yeah, that's always a rough one.
Yeah, the gobbler, because your fist against a flat hand looks like a turkey.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's terrible.
Also, how high up the corporate chain can a fist bump go? Like, you're meeting the president of our company. Can you go fist bump?
I don't know. We're sort of an entertainment company, so I think the formality.
Sort of. I hope we are.
Yeah.
I mean, if not, what are we doing?
I'm not meeting the head of the White and Case law firm. Yeah, I think this is loose enough that you.
Back
you
your
could fist bump.
paralegal days,
No,
you
but
couldn't have done
actually,
it?
the CEO, you have to do an old school handshake, right? Which is.
You got to follow their lead. Maybe they're fist bumping, then maybe you can.
How about you as a woman? Would you hug him?
No, I would have put out the hand for a solid Bill Belichick handshake.
Interesting. What if they went in for the hug? Then you got to hug.
Yeah, I mean, you got to hug them. Man or woman, right? I mean, you don't have to do anything, but that gets into a whole other issue. But no. I think that generally a handshake with the boss is the way to go.
I think you're right, but I wish
I
you
don't
could
generally get in the habit of hugging people at work anyway.
Do you give Spike handshakes? Spike's not a handshake guy, it doesn't seem like. He's more of a fist bump guy.
Why, because he's young?
That's just his general demeanor.
No, he's a bit of a not fan of germs, as I recall.
Yeah,
So,
I would not go in for a hug, that's for sure. I think a fist bump. I don't
Spike's
know.
a fist bump guy. I've seen it. I think a lot of people are fist bump guys because post-COVID, the handshake, if you think about it, if you really think about it.
Let's not really think about
it's
it.
super gross.
Yeah, I don't want to think about, where people's hands have been. That's the last thing I want to think
Do you
about.
ever go, and this happens a lot of when we're at conventions or Super Bowl, you shake 100 hands.
Yes.
Are you ever more desperate to wash your hands in that moment?
Absolutely not. And that's when you got to have the microbial gel or whatever.
Yeah. It's funny.
Antifungal.
Bro hug is, in a way, less intimate than a handshake. Because you're not as exchanging.
But your faces are getting closer.
More intimate, maybe less.
Wait. What kind of bro hug are your faces getting close? You gotta keep the heads to the side in an appropriate bro.
Yeah,
hug.
but it's still getting closer than if your
Than a
arms
handshake.
stretched out.
Yeah.
Yes, but that skin-to-skin contact of the hand-to-hand is pretty. I mean, that's basically second base
actually-
in my book.
Jeffrey Howell in our chat has the perfect solution.
What's that?
Just give the CEO a wedgie. Power move.
Yeah. They will not forget you, that's for sure, when they're escorting you out of the building.
Touch the CEO's underwear? What is going on here?
Yeah. We might be embarking on a little bit of a turf war here with the Weedos in the chat.
Wait, what do the Weedos want to do?
No, well, they're all upset about this. Well, CBS Sports Radio, whoever handles the chat
Yeah,
on the
whoever
CBS
that
Sports
is.
Radio page is very upset about the word that starts with M that everyone seems to use. It's an M word that refers to pork or wet things or damp things.
Oh.
Yeah, and so there's everybody in the chat.
Why we're tiptoeing around it like it's a curse word? We're not gonna
I can't say it personally.
You don't. I'll say it.
Ugh.
I don't want to now because you just set it up this way. Moist?
See,
What did I do? I didn't do anything.
You know what you did, Maggie.
I didn't do anything.
You said it and you had a smile from ear to ear.
I
You
did
knew
not
what you were doing.
enjoy that. Wait a minute. I just don't I think this is overblown. It's just a word.
It's so gross. Like the
Well, you're talking
sound of
about
it, what it
handshakes?
means, every part
You
of
made it seem like we were going to get fined by the FCC if I said it. It's not one of those words.
They should. Give us the F word back and take away the M word.
I can't even say the general manager of the Green Bay Packers last name and get me fined. That dude's a minefield. Gouda. I'm not.
It's a dangerous one.
Yeah.
Now I
Goody's
can't
good.
say it.
Goody's good.
Don't do it.
Yeah, just
Goody.
go Goody.
Yeah.
Goody.
Oh, boy.
Anyway,
But yeah, so
everyone in the chat now.
M word pork was one of the chat names, and somebody, whoever is running the CBS Sports Radio account, clearly doesn't like that word, as most of us don't, made a comment, and now everybody in the Weedos chat is changing their name to M word and then their name. So we have M word RPC, we have M word Gerard, we have M word Craig. It's just not going well.
It's going to turn into the CBS Sports Radio versus the Weedos.
Yeah.
And that's not what we aim to be around here. But that's
No, we
looks
want
like
a
it's
community.
where it's going.
We just want a community without that word in it.
You know who would hate a moist handshake more than anything in the world?
Come on.
Ackerman.
How do I know that? I walked right into that.
You walked in the room, I'm like, oh. Talking about a man who's uncomfortable with
Yeah.
intimacy, let alone germ passing around.
But a
Act
moist,
doesn't want to be in the studio with us.
but a moist handshake. That's just
It's the worst.
no. It's a bad feeling. You know. It's
You
like
gotta either rub your hand on your pants or something.
Exactly.
You gotta get rid of that moisture, and especially if you're meeting someone like the boss, you gotta make sure hands are dry. Gotta keep it cool.
It's weird. Moisture I'm actually okay with. It's just we take away the part.
Very specific.
It's very weird.
I hear you. What about, okay.
Do some people sweat on their hands though? That's gotta stink.
I think there is a condition like
Yeah,
that. though.
I'm sure. There's a condition for everything.
I feel
Okay.
bad for those people.
I forgot one more kiss scenario. What
Yeah.
about people who don't want to kiss on the cheek,
Right.
who want to kiss lip to lip,
Ugh, who's doing that?
like relatives?
Who's doing that?
That happens all the time. That is out there. You guys have never run into this?
No.
No.
You've never met a
never
lip-to-lip kisser. They exist. You guys are looking at me
A
like I made this up.
kisser.
Yeah, they exist.
Who you're not married to, or is
Like
not
an
like
aunt.
your,
Oh, an ant may be a little bit different.
Yeah, I know.
I've done the accidental lip kiss where you both go to the same side and you try to do
I'm
the cheek.
embarrassed for you just hearing about that.
Yeah.
No.
You haven't done that? Everybody's done that. You go to the
course I've
same
done that.
side accidentally and then you just, whoops.
I don't
No, there
have
are
that.
lip-to-lip kissers out there.
Oh, there are.
With
That's-
not with strangers, not just meet someone.
No.
That's insanity. That's assault.
Often family or friends.
No, I don't have one of those people in my life. Thank
Yeah,
God.
the lip-to-lip kissers, like with their kids, I also find to be a little bit off.
Yeah, it depends on the age,
Yeah.
Because
Like a toddler's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But like a 7-year-old.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I know. Now we're getting to Tom Brady territory, aren't we? I know this is all roads are going to lead to Brady.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Forgot about that?
Yeah, it's not something I think about all the time.
I mean, I don't either, but, they're obviously in the news a little bit this week. 855-2124-CBS. Don't actually want anyone to call about this. I don't know. I'm sorry, I have no advice for you. This would be good for the advice duck, but I have no advice for you on a lip-to-lip kisser in your life. I'm so lucky I don't have one.
Let's just in case people are listening, let's move on because I don't want to make anyone feel bad. I don't care. I actually don't mind. I don't care. I'd rather
That's
do
a lie.
I'd rather do a lip
You're lying right now.
I'd rather do a lip-to-lip kiss than a moist handshake. On the power rankings of bad things.
Oh, that's not right. No, a moist handshake at least. Well, let's do.
Well, that's like a double overtime advancing, though.
Oh, yeah, we have our bracket of the worst things.
Yeah, we did put a moist handshake on there. We should have put it on. Our top 5 things that the worst, what are we calling these? Social encounters?
Yeah, greetings.
Yeah, greetings.
Greetings is a specific territory. I guess goodbye is a little bit, too.
I'll come up with something. Moist handshake and lip-to-lip kiss are definitely on there. I just don't know what order.
Yeah. Do we put on the gobbler when one person goes for fist bump, the other goes for a high five?
Definitely. This thing is going to be easy.
High five. High five's kind of awesome, by the way.
Gobbler?
The gobbler.
Yeah.
Never heard that. I know the motion.
Yeah.
I've done it many times. But I've never heard the word. That's awesome. Gobbler. Okay.
How about the old school high five like it's 1983? Why not? Let's do it.
It's back. Oh,
Is
yeah,
it
it's
back?
Oh, yeah.
High five. What
Like
about
a high five. I'll high five you like this.
Yeah,
what about
high five
the
cool again.
Tom Cruise Top Gun high five where you
this
go
and
up
then-
top, then come around
That was never
down
not
low?
cool.
Yeah,
How about a David Putty?
What does Buddy do from Seinfeld?
He would just go, high five. Just walk around.
to
High
Elaine,
five.
though,
Yeah.
like to his girlfriend.
Like after coitus.
Yeah.
Oh, no. First we have moist, and now we got
Postcoital high five.
coitus. That is also a word that nobody wants to hear on the radio.
Meanwhile, Samter's fine with that one, but bring moist around, and all of a sudden he's running for the hills.
Coitus is fine. Moist coitus, no thank you.
God.
Some words are even worse when you make them. The clinical word is even worse than the normal word, and that is one of them.
You want less, not more.
Wow, that was wonderful coitus, honey.
High five.
High five.
Bro, hug it, baby.
I really hope my mom wasn't watching that one. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I blame it, Ackerman. I don't know why. Coming up, we never got to Ja Morant. We'll do that. Sorry, Ak. Also, LeBron James fires back on his injury timeline. So we got a lot to do. We're chatting on YouTube, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We're streaming live on the Odyssey app and also SiriusXM channel 158. Come on back.
Sports Flag.
And this report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save nearly $700 on average. Call or click today to find out if you could save hundreds on your car insurance. Days after Ed Cooley left for Georgetown, Providence fills the void, finalizing a deal with Kim English. The 34-year-old spent the last 2 seasons at George Mason, leading the Patriots to 20 wins this year. There are 16 teams still standing in the NCAA tournament, and a few surprises. Among them is FAU. The Owls will meet Tennessee tonight after wins over Memphis and Fairleigh. Dickinson head coach Dusty May told the Jim Rome Show this will be their toughest matchup yet by far.
Defensively, they're off the charts. They're physical, and I say that in the most complimentary fashion you can. They're strong. They're tough. They challenge everything. It's hard to make threes against them. It's hard to get threes off against them. And then obviously in the paint, they're so physical with their wall up.
Tennessee had the third best scoring defense in the nation. The Owls ranked 32nd nationally in scoring. The first part of the doubleheader at Madison Square Garden features Michigan State and Kansas State, and in Las Vegas, UConn meets Arkansas, followed by UCLA and Gonzaga, as the Bruins look to avenge a loss to the Zags in the Final Four 2 years ago. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Hey, it's Amy Lawrence. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Just ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Somehow the show started talking about awkward encounters, like when you're saying hi to somebody, hugs that last too long, bro hugs, etc. How did this start? Oh, the guys were all bro hugging the Panthers with CJ Stroud like they had been, friends for decades.
CJ Stroud looks so comfortable in his bro hugging process.
Yes.
And for me,
down the line of Panthers executives.
If I'm the Panthers, I would look back at that and say, you know what? He was really easy to say hello to, and an easy greeting is a reason enough to draft someone in my book. I don't know if he can play football, but
hand him $30 million.
Yeah. If he walks in the room, we're not going to be stressed that it's going to be an awkward situation.
That's worth its weight in gold.
Oh,
it really is.
Man.
It is. Just hand him the keys to the franchise. So we have our top 5. What are we calling this? Top 5 so awkward things in a greeting? What do we call it?
Top 5 awkward greetings.
Awkward greetings. There you go. Cool. Okay. And we just came up with this in the break. Number 5, close talker. Always going to be bad. Someone who's just right up in your face when you greet them, and they're just right at an eyelash away. Number 4, when someone greets you but then immediately is looking over your shoulder to see if someone better is in the room or someone else, like they barely make eye contact before they're looking over at someone else.
This reminds me of our bracket of the worst because that's the worst.
It is, but should have made the bracket. 3, when you don't remember somebody's name, so you call them bud, boss, dude, dog.
Commander.
Commander, okay.
Yeah, I have a friend who does that. I differ a little bit on this because what are you supposed to do?
Hey. Don't be like, hey, boss.
How about hey, bud? Hey, bud. Hey, bud, what's going on?
I'll let it slide because it's your move.
What if you say hi?
Yeah. Hey.
Okay, someone who you've seen over the years many times.
Yeah.
You say, hey. Well, what do you say? Okay, this happened to you all the time.
I know. It just happened, actually.
So what do you say?
Hey.
Oh, that is cold. That is cold as ice.
I don't say, hey, boss.
That is, but hey, bud, at least has some warmth to it.
Oh, Jeffrey Howell in the chat, chief. Can't say, hey, chief.
Yeah,
put that in there.
I think it's the extravagant ones: chief, commander.
Yeah, if you
compadre.
I got to be honest. If you tell somebody, like especially someone who's cooking your food, like making your breakfast, or you stop and get like an egg sandwich or something, and you go, I want eggs over easy, salt, pepper, ketchup, bacon. Thanks, boss. That person's spitting in your food. Do not call that person boss. Okay. Where were we? 2, moist handshake. Number 1, lip-to-lip kisser.
I would have gone moist handshake 1, lip-to-lip kisser. There's not that many germs on your lips.
Yeah, but moist handshake, you can wash your hand, wipe it off. If someone gives you a lip-to-lip kiss, I mean, that's
what
lingering.
about when you come right out of the men's room and you've just washed your hands and it's a wet handshake?
Oh, and you have to tell the person, I just washed my hands.
I just washed my hands. And it happens all the time.
It does happen a lot. But if I'm the person who's shaking your hand, I feel good about that. Like, that hand's been just washed. I can feel
I know,
it.
in theory.
Yeah,
with your head, you can believe that. But with your heart.
Physically, it feels weird. Mentally, you're like, oh, I'm all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might tell yourself, but deep inside, you feel a little queasy.
Oh, this is RPC Broham. Can't do that one either.
What's
up, Broham?
Well, Broham is something you might say to someone you know their name.
Or Champ.
Champ's a bad one.
Champ. Apparently, Chief is a Howard-esque word. We have to next time we have him on, we'll see if he calls us Chief.
Oh, right. That sounds familiar. I mean, I listened to Howard growing up. He would call people Chief all the time.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Ack does Chief, too.
Ack's a Chief guy?
Ack's a big Chief guy.
Yeah.
Big Chief guy.
But then it's like his thing. I don't think he's saying it because he doesn't remember your name. Clearly, he knows all of our names.
I would hope so at this point.
That'd be a big reveal if Ack had no clue who any of us were. He comes in once an hour. I've known him since like 2006.
Maggie. Who's that Maggie?
Yeah.
Oh, you.
Hey, you. Hey, you is worse. Hey, like Chief, Bud, Pal.
Hey, you.
Hey, you is the worst. You can't do hey, you.
Yeah. My friend Paul Papps from the Dan Patrick Show was famous for calling people he didn't know Commander. And he did it with such judgment. But he did it really smoothly. Like, oh, maybe he did know him. But I knew he didn't know his name. But that's like, hello, Governor. Like, Commander is no good. Governor.
I knew someone who called everybody Coach. Hey, Coach. And it was kind of endearing. Non-coaches, just regular people.
That's weird.
Yeah, he was a little bit of an odd guy.
Especially in this industry, because you have to call coaches coach.
That's true.
So you would call a guy who's never coached a day in his life coach?
That's what he would do, especially on the phone. Hey, Coach.
That is bizarre.
He was an interesting dude, but I think he knew my name. Just
I don't think Hey Skipper works either.
No,
Skipper, unless
Skipper.
it's John Skipper of Metal Arc Entertainment.
Just saw the other day.
Like Commander and Skipper, it's just too many syllables. It's just you need like the one syllable that is easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you can't go naval for
Hey, Rear Admiral.
Hey, Comandante. I think you have to. Before next year's Super Bowl. Before next year's Super Bowl, we have to Google obscure military titles to call people that. And we should have a contest. Who can call someone the most military titles?
Hey, plebe.
What's up, Lieutenant?
Sergeant.
Sergeant, we might be able to get away with. So the next time we're at the Super Bowl and you see Ian Rappaport, well, we know his name. It's got to be for someone you don't know their name.
Yeah. What's up, Lieutenant Colonel? That's very specific.
This is going to go terribly.
It sure is.
Like everything we do.
But I think that'd be a fun contest, and you have to have someone film it. So you could pretend a camera crew is following you around, and we could go through and see how many different military titles can you say to people.
Can you say to someone without them being like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, they'll just go with it.
Yeah, I think a lot of these, you would hear that, and you wouldn't think twice. Someone says, hey, Chief. Chief is a little weird, actually.
Yeah, Chief's weird. People, no. Chief is Robert Parrish. Chief is not Chief. There's no other Chief.
Let's do it in the break. We'll go out in the hall and say one of these ones to a random person and see what the reaction is.
But we know everyone's name out there.
I know.
Do we?
Do we? I mean, you do. I don't have the slightest idea who those people are.
I mean, I've worked in this building for like 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can find somebody who you don't know their name. We'll go to the sales floor.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and the funny thing is they all know your name.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen Maggie give out a, hey.
You?
Hey.
No, you want to know what I do?
Question mark.
I use like Perloff or whoever I'm with. I shouldn't even give this one away, but this is like my airbag move. Like, two people weren't really sure what their name was. And I was like, oh my gosh, hey, have you met Andrew Perloff? And then I just sit back.
Yeah, but the other person that you're with has to be on board or understand what's happening, because there's nothing worse than, have you met Andrew Perloff? And Andrew's like, oh, hi. And doesn't do the, there's no...
And then walks away.
Well, like, oh, hi, how are you? And like, yeah, nice to meet you.
The other person then will be like, oh, no, hi, I'm so-and-so.
Yeah, hey, I'm Bill in sales.
You put it on the other person.
Sometimes, but when they don't, then you're just up the river.
I got to tell you,
does
she pulled
have
this move the other day, and I thought she was best friends with the people.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I was totally stunned. I'm like,
and
wait.
the Oscar goes to this gal.
But the funny thing is, the three of you were so happy to see each other that I didn't know what was going on.
I swear to you, and I don't mean this as disrespect to anyone. It has nothing to do with them. It's all about me. There are people who I am 100% sure I could pass a police lie detector test saying I've never met this person before, and then they would produce a photo of us standing next to each other, and I'd be like, oh, I guess we have met. So is that bad? My brain is like not right.
Actually, I was struck by what a phony you are.
Dude, that's a must phony situation. I'm going to be my real self? No.
Well,
I went back. I'm sorry. What was your name? It's like, oh, we worked on this project together. It's my fault. It's not their fault. It's mine.
You're like, oh my gosh, it's so great to see you. Have you met Andrew Perloff? First of all, who on earth is that excited to meet Andrew Perloff? I should have put two and two together. But they got caught up in the excitement, and we're all like, then 2 seconds later, I'm bro hugging a guy I never met before named Alan.
Oh, Alan, of course.
That wasn't.
So I've had a problem. No. I got to tell you, this place we work at, people are not good at introducing anyone. So I was here for several months, and nobody bothered to introduce me to anyone. So I was walking.
My bad.
I was walking through the hall saying, "Hey, Chief," for about 6 months.
Commandante.
Yeah. But then everybody knows your name if you're on air, so it's weird.
It's a little bit tougher, yeah.
But they immediately assume, they'll say, people I've met once, maybe, will be like, "Hey, Perloff." That's on them, too, to not say my name if we've never really had a conversation.
Yeah, there's another part of this, too, which is a compliment, which is people feel like they know you because we do a radio show and we talk about our lives and we share things and, you know.
Yeah, that's sounding way too arrogant for what we actually are. I mean, this happens maybe twice a year.
Yeah, but it happens to me with other people. I feel like I know them because I listen to the radio shows.
Oh, it happened at the movie premiere the other night.
Oh, we saw Adam Schefter. You would have thought that, you see Adam Schefter. How familiar is he in our lives? Now, you've met him a few times. I have too, but yes.
Yeah, I felt very awkward in several conversations with the sports media celebrities there, and I could tell like Schefter might have forgotten who I was. I had no idea.
He knew you.
Yeah, he knew me, but it was definitely awkward. I had I'm just going to say it right now. I totally crossed wires with Hannah Storm, and we were talking about two completely different things
Really?
for a large chunk of the conversation.
I thought you guys were talking like old pals.
You pulled like a Vanity Fair.
Basically, she was talking about a golf documentary. I was going to tell you, she was talking about this golf documentary, and I was talking about a shoe documentary, and I couldn't understand what she was talking about, and she couldn't understand what I'm talking about. I thought she must have mentioned golf shoes at some point. That she's like, yeah, it follows them around the PGA. I'm like, what? And we both look at each other like, but we're both trying to keep the energy up and be nice and polite. And I felt so bad. I went home feeling bad about crossing wires with Hannah.
That's so funny because I had such a pleasant conversation with her. We've been DMing ever since.
She's absolutely lovely, but
I'm crying.
She has this golf documentary that sounds amazing, and I thought for some reason I thought it was a shoe documentary. So my questions didn't make any sense to her. I'm like, oh yeah, did you cover the impact of Kanye West on Adidas? She's like, no, that was not in my golf documentary. Okay. Hey, that was a great movie. Oh, hey, Chief, what's up? Hey, Comandante, what's up?
All of a sudden, you just kiss her on the lips.
Kiss her on the lips and walk away.
It's so funny. Oh, my gosh. All right, coming up next, Ja Morant, something.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Favorite donut is the cinnamon and sugar covered ones.
Wow. I have to admit, you're picking a low seed.
Why?
I feel like if we could find a ranking of donut flavors, I imagine that's not top 5.
My favorite all time is like an apple fritter, but I didn't think that was traditional donut.
By the way, I think I know what an apple fritter is, but I'm not exactly sure what an apple fritter is.
Literally turned his chair away from me. Like, what am I doing?
Okay.
True story. I once took one out of the freezer because I wanted to eat one so badly, and I couldn't even wait until it got unfrozen, and I bit into it while it was still frozen. I was like, I have a problem.
The excitement you had about that frozen apple fritter story
I thought
was
I was really glad
unbelievable.
to share something with you guys, some vulnerability about the time I went.
We don't even know what apple fritters are, man. They say, what's your favorite kind of donut? A Kit Kat bar.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
So glad to have you on this Thursday. Maggie and Perloff, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff across the country on CBS Sports Radio. We're also streaming live at youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We're on Sirius XM channel 158, and we're on the free Odyssey app. We've got a little update here from our pal Adam Schefter. We just saw it, the air premiere Monday night. Got an update on where things stand between the Packers and the Jets regarding Aaron Rodgers. So according to Schefter from just a few minutes ago, the two sides have been stalled in their talks. There's been a standoff because Green Bay wants more than the Jets are offering. Okay, that happens. The Jets feel like they're offering a lot, and the Packers feel like they're not offering enough. So right now, the two sides are at a standstill. What's the holdup, Perloff, is that it sounds like the Packers want a first-round draft pick in the trade, and that's not all. So they want a first-round pick and more for Aaron Rodgers. That's where we stand, and that's where the discrepancy is. And to be honest, I'm kind of surprised because I would have thought a first-round pick is kind of like a major thing that this could hinge on. This isn't like the NBA where you throw in 100 first-round picks and like they all switch around. The NFL, it's different. These first-round picks you hope are going to be the core of your team. I would have thought they could have had that hammered out before the contingent from the Jets got on an airplane and flew out to California to meet with Rodgers.
Yeah, I thought this was all worked out as well. I think I said on the air, there's no way they would go
Right.
this far without knowing that. I mean, okay,
It's like, sounds like they're starting from zero.
But you do have to keep in mind, this is a report, and Adam Schefter, of course, really screwed up last year when he said that Rodgers was done with the Packers. He obviously was not. He came back, I think, 10 days later. So this is just a report. It does not mean that they're not 3 days away from a deal. I really believe that.
So here's the question. What's the actual deadline here?
Yeah.
Is the NFL draft the deadline, which would be in late April?
It feels crazy to me if we went 4 more weeks without that trade.
But again, like if the Jets don't want to part with the 13th overall pick, then they might want to wait till after the draft. You could be playing with fire. I don't know if another team might want to swoop in and start negotiating with the Packers for Rodgers, but you might just want to say, all right, we're going to get past the draft, and then, talks of first-round picks is going to be, off the table, I guess, because you don't think, or maybe it still is on the table. I don't know.
You know what? If you're Green Bay, you probably don't want that year's first-round pick. How about if there was a future first-round pick? Because the Jets could easily have 1 year of Rodgers, then be looking at 3 and 14. I mean, I think there's some value in futures Jets picks because that feels like a possible implosion. At least there's a
you might want to bet on that.
reward.
Yeah.
There's a high reward there. Yeah, I still think they're negotiating. And I think whatever Schefter said, I'm sorry, I think this is part of the negotiation. I think somebody gave this to him because they want to move the process one way or the other. Don't you think that something could, how negotiations are. You're right. Deadline spurs action. But I still think that it could hit us out of nowhere that they work this out. They can't be that far apart, Maggie. I refuse to wrap my head around it.
I mean, who knows? I
mean, the Packers allowed the Jets to come out and talk to Rodgers.
They all say they want this to happen.
Yeah.
Yet it doesn't feel like anyone has any sense of urgency. Like, does either side have any sense of urgency to actually get this done? Like, the Packers, I would assume, want that pick for this year, wouldn't they? So I think they would want it done. So why aren't they moving things?
Yeah, can you imagine if the Jets didn't do anything until June?
And what do you do then? You're really playing with fire because you don't have a plan B. Your backup, what's your situation here? Chris Streveler? That's not going to work.
Well, I mean, there's got to be options, right?
What, but Ben Roethlisberger out of retirement?
Well, Tom Brady out of retirement.
Yeah, right. He's not coming to the Jets.
You could always just trade for a guy, or you could draft a quarterback.
But if you're going to trade for a guy, make it be Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Right. Well, I don't think you're getting... Say Aaron Rodgers falls through. Let's talk realistically. What do the Jets do? Are they... God, that's a tough one.
This is what I'm saying. If Lamar Jackson, you're going to now start going down that road?
Well, actually, why not?
It's not easy.
It's not easy, but...
It's a lot of guaranteed money you're going to give him. That's going to make Aaron Rodgers $50 or $60 million look pale in comparison.
Yeah, but... I don't know, $60 million for 1 year of a 40-year-old quarterback, I think it's kind of similar to $240 for a 26-year-old quarterback. That's not the worst plan B. There's got to be, it's not over for the Jets.
I don't think it's over for the Jets.
Yeah.
It's just, and now I wonder if it's flipped where the Jets are the ones who are stalling this. Do they want to get past the draft?
I would think so, but I still feel from a PR standpoint, 4 more weeks without Aaron Rodgers in the fold.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm imagining that. Don't you think fans would get antsy?
Yeah,
I mean, the media is all they talk.
I do.
The media would sort of, like us, would make it a big thing. I just think 4 weeks of this seems really like a long time. And I think there'd be a lot of problems for both teams if this lasted another month.
So that's the latest on what's going on between the Packers and the Jets. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. And obviously the Packers don't want Aaron Rodgers strolling into camp. That's the last thing that you want. That this doesn't get done, and then all of a sudden here comes Aaron Rodgers because he's not going to want to get fined. He's not going to want to not,
Well, camp in July, you mean?
Something like that.
Yeah, that would be funny. I mean, Jimmy G went back to San Francisco, so think this does happen.
Jimmy G on a different practice field, the height of awkwardness, and then obviously ended up starting the majority of games for them.
I mean, Brett Favre retired and came back. It would be completely he was gone in Green Bay.
Imagine
then showed up again.
It's my intention to play for the Jets would just be a soundbite that follows Aaron Rodgers for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And it's not even his fault. It's the two teams that can't figure it out. Rodgers is just a bystander here.
You put it right in the file of Bill Belichick being the Jets coach for 12 hours or whatever it was back in 98.
I resign as the HC of the NYJ.
Yeah. Listen, if there was ever a franchise something like that would happen to, it's the Jets, Jets.
Yeah, I hate to
Sorry,
say it. So it's totally true. Okay, so the big story in sports from last night is Ja Morant return, Perloff. Memphis Grizzlies at home facing the Rockets. They won. Ja came off the bench, 17 points. He played very, very well. Let's hear from Ja Morant, Stu, on what it felt like when he got a standing ovation when he came into the game.
Felt good, man. Still a little bit of, mixed emotions. I was excited to be back. I love these guys. I love our fans. I love the organization for, their continued support, throughout this process, I'm going through. And they helped me a lot.
So Ja comes back. He gets a rousing standing ovation. He had several highlight plays, all the things you would expect in a Ja Morant game. What was notable about this was not actually Ja or anything he did. It was his father, T, and his uncle who showed up in hoodies that said redemption on it that had Ja's face on it, too. Like, it was like, basically like, Ja like kind of bro hugging someone. We've been talking about bro hugs a lot today. And with the word redemption on the front. And I thought that was odd.
Definitely. This is the redemption tour all of a sudden?
But, like, also, we're still in this thing. Like, Ja there said himself, this is still an ongoing process for me. Like, redemption kind of implies that one chapter has closed and another chapter begins, right? Or maybe that's my read on it. And to me, I don't know how you could say that anything has ended, right? He's still in this.
Right.
He's still in it. And it might be in it for a long time. And this is the kind of thing where you wonder, like, how does pressure get applied to these athletes and celebrities and superstars? Like, I don't think anyone's really expecting Morant to have this all perfectly figured out. So to say now it's about redemption, it's like, in a way, I feel like that's almost applying pressure from inside his own circle to Ja Morant. And I don't know. I have no idea what their relationship looks like. It's a great relationship. But at the same time, it's like, it seems like you're almost implying that he's past all this and he's on to the redemption part of this story when, A, we don't even know exactly what he needs to be redeemed from, and B, like, isn't he still trying to figure all this out?
Well, yeah, but you can't wear a sweatshirt that says still figuring it out. If he's still figuring it out, well, let me ask you this. If he's still figuring it out, which makes sense, should he be on the court then? Why would you be on the court if you're still figuring it out?
It's a great point. Like, I think only a professional would be able to figure out, like, Ja along with a professional would be able to say, like, hey, is basketball the best thing for you right now? If basketball is the source of your anxiety, which we don't know, it could be the outside things that are the source of the anxiety, and you claim that the being in the strip club and showing the gun on Instagram, or having an encounter with a 17-year-old at your home, we get in a fight allegedly, or the thing that happened at the mall with a security guard allegedly, or the other things, like, you're saying that's because you needed a release, right? Like, you couldn't deal with the stress and anxiety. That's what he said.
He has said that?
He has said that, yeah.
Okay.
So, and especially about the strip club thing. Like, he just needed a release, and it was trying to, escape and some release. Like, is the basketball playing into the anxiety, or is the basketball the respite for the anxiety?
What I don't understand, maybe the latter, because he looks so comfortable on the court, despite that weird mask.
Yeah,
it looked like he had not missed a second. And first of all, by the way, the Grizzlies did not look good. They went to the wire with the god-awful Houston Rockets, which was bizarre. But he looked complete, and he's gone through all these things. He's never suffered on the court.
No, his home road splits are the same.
Yeah, it's never affected him on the court. And I don't think it's this redemption tour. I think there's a good chance that he goes through this season, avoids trouble, and they could go on a deep playoff run. And he will successfully execute the redemption tour if the basketball goes well, even if he has no personal growth. And I think there's a good chance. I mean, how shocking. He's not going to get in trouble again, right?
I have no idea. I don't think so, but I have no idea. I mean, do you see the Grizzlies are now altering their travel schedule? So to try to avoid being, I guess, like out late in certain cities, they're now just going to be leaving those cities like right away, not staying over. They're trying to alter the travel schedule to try to keep everyone on the straight and narrow.
Wow. But that's the point, too. I think there's going to be so many people around protecting Ja right now. I mean, listen, he's a $300 million brand. If he wants to be. Or actually, I don't know what his deal was. It was in the $100 millions. I think there could be a lot of people who are going to protect him. I can't possibly see him getting in trouble again this year. He'd have to be so wildly out of control to do that. Yeah. And I don't think that's really who he is.
We have no clue. But that's the only thing that's going to be the true, like, redemption, if you want to call it that, is going to be what happens from here on out. Like, how does he handle the stressors of being a superstar, and how does he handle that along with the most stressful time of the year, the NBA playoffs, and all of that stuff. And it's just interesting about putting that out there while your son already has all eyeballs on him, right? Is coming back after the suspension, missing 9 games, And now, like, to put the redemption thing on, I feel like doesn't help your son's cause here. If anything, it just draws more attention to this thing. And listen, it's not me. It's like what we talked about, like LeVar Ball. You know, LeVar Ball was always so out there with, putting his kids out there, and they're the best, and they're going to be better than, and I always thought, aren't you putting pressure on and asking your kids to basically cash checks that your mouth is writing? Like,
yeah, but it worked out great for the Balls. The kids couldn't have worked out better.
I know. Look at what happened. They both made it. I mean, unfortunately for Lonzo, he's now dealt with knee injuries.
Yeah, but he was the number 2 overall pick, and LaMelo was a top 10 pick who's amazing.
I know.
So that parenting worked out well.
Well, but in the moment, that's not what we weren't sure. And we're not sure how this is going to go for Ja Morant. So we only know in the moment. Like, is the parent putting more pressure on the son by being out there saying, with the redemption on your shirt when your kid's still going through it?
Well, it's fine. I thought people always had LeVar Ball wrong. I thought he was purposely sort of helping his kids. He was being this bombastic character, A, to get the attention off of his kids, and B, to promote them. So I think it's hard to tell. We're not there with Ja and T. Maybe, I think he might be sending a message, we believe in you, and everyone around your family believes in you.
Right.
I think his team believes in him. Honestly,
he's got nothing but support.
Yeah, I mean, his team loves him. That is all. You always see that. The Grizzlies are a tight-knit, very, very young team on the court. I don't know what they're like off. But the other thing, too, is I think basketball could fix a lot of this. I think him playing could help distract him, could certainly help the story move on if he has a bunch of 30-point games. You know how we are, Maggie. We're going to forget all that.
We'll move on, but if basketball is such a positive thing, and it is obviously, but if it was such a positive thing and it's such an outlet and a respite, then why do you have an issue in the first place? Obviously basketball is part of what's going on with him. It'd be impossible to divorce the two.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. Of course. That's why I think if you're going to have problems with Ja Morant, or Ja Morant's going to have problems, I think it'll be a little more long-term. I don't think it'll hit this spring. He's 23. We'll see where he is in his career when he's 28, but it can't possibly, nobody's going to do that again. Everyone's going to take phones away from him no matter where he is. Like,
I know, you don't want to treat him like he's a child. Like, that's not what this is about either.
Well, they're not going to the people around him are not going to let him get in that situation again. I will guarantee you that.
Okay, but the people around him were the same people that let him here.
Right, but that, the gun on the Instagram, that was, I think, a huge wake-up call to Team Ja Morant. Don't you think? I mean, isn't that how this kind of thing usually plays out?
Well, yeah, you hope that it's like maybe a wake-up call, but then the idea about like redemption is kind of like to me, this is how I read it, and this is just my opinion on it, and when you wear something like that, you open yourself up to people trying to interpret what you're saying. You're kind of saying like, all right, everything's good. Redemption. We're on the way. We're on the path back up, right? Like we've already crossed over the top of the mountain, and we're over the tough stuff, and now we're going to be on our way to redemption. When I don't know, this has been like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it has not been a lot of time. If he's like honest to goodness suffering from some serious mental and anxiety issues, most people don't have those things solved in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you have very good points, but I do think that it's going to be portrayed as a redemption story in public.
Yeah.
Do you remember in the movie Air? We saw the movie Air the other day, and there was this dramatic speech, and the character who plays Sonny Vaccaro goes to Michael Jordan. I hope this isn't a spoiler. We love to tear down athletes and build them back up.
Yeah.
And that can happen really fast.
Not just athletes, celebrities, everybody, yeah.
So we've definitely done the tear down Ja thing. And I think
as far as teardowns go,
it was quick. It happened. That cycle can happen in 2 weeks. I'm telling you, I've seen it before.
Also, it's been nothing but support. I mean, where's the teardown been?
You don't think Ja's been teared down in public?
I mean, I think he's been criticized, but for his own actions. But he's also received incredible support from the franchises stood behind him this entire time. The NBA, I mean, he put a gun on Instagram. He got suspended for 8 games while he was going to get treatment. That's not like throwing the book at somebody.
Yeah, but the media has definitely torn him down. There's no doubt. You don't think that they've been criticizing Ja Morant?
Definitely, but didn't his actions deserve criticism? Like, that wasn't unfair.
Right, but they're going to build him right back up if they have playoff success. I'm telling you, he could be a hero. That redemption thing could be true if the Grizzlies ball out and go to the finals. because people are going to watch basketball and they're going to forget about this.
Yeah.
I think that's what we do. I was watching a game last night, and Ja looked so comfortable, like he never missed a second.
I know.
And I forgot about all the issues. I'm like, oh, there's Ja Morant.
That's the thing about athletes, right? They always have more of a chance of redemption even than like other celebrities and stuff, because you always have the next game.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Jaren Jackson Jr. scored like 100 points.
I know.
Because the Houston Rockets, I guess, do not play defense inside the
they're
paint.
in the Wembanyama thing.
Anyway, no, I don't know why. I found myself strangely mesmerized with that game because I was watching Ja.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of Rockets Grizzlies late March action, but yeah.
How dare you?
No, but it'll be interesting to see if Ja does well on the court. He can put a lot of this behind him, but I think they're going to keep it tight around him. I didn't know the Grizzlies rearranged their schedule. Doesn't that tell you everything, Maggie? Like, they are not going to let this get out of control.
Yeah, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in on Ja Morant if you'd like to. Also coming up, we have an update from LeBron James about when he's going to be playing again and what one Hall of Famer has to say about Lamar Jackson. Got a lot to do today. Glad to have you with us, Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Alabama Pro Day going on today. Later on, we'll check in with our buddy Jim Nagy, former NFL scout. Tell us how everybody's doing. He's in Tuscaloosa, witnessing the Pro Day firsthand. So we'll do that a little bit later on in the show. Been talking about Ja Morant made his return to the NBA last night, but the bigger story was not his 17 points off the bench. It was his father and his uncle sitting courtside wearing shirts that said redemption on them. Patrick is in South Carolina listening on 100.3. He's got a thought on it. What's up, Patrick?
Hey, how's it going? So I do agree that he definitely needs some new friends, and I'm a big advocate for two-way rights. But someone with that much money, it's kind of like Plaxico, just hire the best security in the world, and they can have all the guns they want on them. But keep your nose clean. But as far as the shirts go, I would understand, crucifying, for lack of better words, for redemption, a little too early. But I feel like if it said redeemed on it, it would be like, okay, slow down. But I think redemption is like the whole path, like traveling the whole journey.
Still on the journey. Right. Which, Patrick, good point. That's what Ja did say. Whoops, I did say the call screener. It's a process. And he's right to say that, which is funny because he's the one who's saying it's a process. And I think it's just the process has been very sped up, it appears, on the outside.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, too, is we don't really know what's going on. Is it anxiety? What does that mean? Does that mean he's got some sort of underlying issue mentally, or is it something else? So it's really hard to weigh in on that because they haven't really spent, I know he's done interviews, but they haven't really spent a lot of time explaining how all this happened.
And honestly, he probably shouldn't have to explain everything, but it's fair to wonder, is this something that, a couple therapy sessions and all of a sudden you're feeling a lot better? And he said something about breathing techniques and Reiki therapy, which is where people, it's like a type of energy massage where the person doesn't actually touch you, but.
Well, here's the other thing, too. We see a lot of young athletes get into trouble and then they just get older.
Yeah, that's true.
And it goes away. I mean, tons. So if he could just say I think this could be a wake-up call. I don't think he's going to get in trouble like this again.
Well, you hope not. I mean, listen, the league, and not just for him personally. Of course, everyone wants to see him be fine. It's like someone's messing around with a gun on Instagram. You don't want that to end in the most tragic way possible. That would be awful. But the league's banking on him, too. I mean, listen, Zion is a rumor. And he was the number one overall pick from that draft, and Ja was too. And I think Ja really surpassed Zion Williamson in terms of, visibility. Obviously, he's had more success. And, I think the league is really looking to Ja to be a torch carrier.
Well, yeah. I mean, I still think an injured Zion's probably the most interesting player in the NBA.
He's got to play at some point for us to think he's interesting.
I know,
he's out of sight, out of mind.
But it's funny thing is the hope and the dream of Zion is so powerful that it's almost better for him that he doesn't play. I saw an update on him that he's 2 weeks away from getting evaluated again. They're going to bring him back at the end of the season.
But the season's going to be over.
I saw these 3 talking heads on ESPN who were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's coming back." Where Ja, on the other hand, Ja's an important star. I don't ever see him being a face of the NBA kind of guy. I mean, he's just, unless they win a title, I think it's going to be hard. He's just caught in, how many good young players are there? How many guards does he get caught up with? Is he that different than Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, all these guys? Until he wins 3 titles like Steph Curry or LeBron.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But think about it. Donovan Mitchell and Devin Booker have been in the league for a long time. They've made deep postseason runs. Booker's been to the finals. They're not the face of the league. If they were, they'd be the face of the league.
Well, no. I mean, you have to win multiple titles. It takes a long time.
I don't even know if it's the winning the multiple titles, because Tim Duncan won multiple titles, and he was never the face of the league.
Well, who's been the face of the league?
LeBron.
Kobe, LeBron, Jordan. Do we see Ja Morant in that conversation? I just think that Steph Curry's probably been in the face of the league, too. You need a lot of success to get to that level.
Okay, but I think you can also you can be face of the league. Yes, those guys. I also think Allen Iverson was at one point a face in the league. I mean, you can also play in a way that is so styled and so compelling that even if you don't win, you're still a face of the league.
Like Vince Carter.
Vince Carter is a perfect example.
Right, and Ja sometimes plays like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, to me, Zion is more that player. Zion is so unusual, and it's just so thrilling to watch him. Ja's pretty good, too. Ja will try and dunk on anybody, which is amazing. I just don't quite see it.
I can't see the call. Who do we got? Mark in Miami. What's up, Mark? How are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? Before I get to Ja, you're talking about Zion. If I'm the Pelicans, man, just get rid of him. I think Brandon Ingram is a better overall player than him. He's not as flashy, but you can't rely on the guy. He's been hurt his whole career. He's been hurt high school, college, and now the NBA. He's out of shape, and his body type, he's never going to be healthy. So if I'm the Pelicans, just offload him. You got a great young nucleus core there with Ingram and McCollum there, and you got a nice supporting cast. Pelicans got him ready to move. You can get a haul, sucker some team.
I know,
let
Mark,
him fall off.
They don't have the stones to do that.
Also, CJ McCollum's 30-something years old. Yeah, that's that.
I think they're still holding on to the hope that.
I don't think Brandon Ingram is a winning player like that either. I mean, he's been there a long time. What does he win when Zion's not there?
Well, they had a very thrilling 7-game series against the Suns. Is Mark still there? I didn't hang up on Mark by accident, did I? I hope I didn't. He's gone. Okay. I hope I didn't hang up on Mark. I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Brandon Ingram, are you going to win an NBA title with Brandon Ingram as your lead guy?
No, you're not. Let's get to our Lake and Bake.
Lake and Bake.
Haven't done this one in a while. So, Woj, you've heard of him, came out with a tweet today that had an update on LeBron James. And it basically said that there is an increasing optimism that LeBron James could return to play, quote, a few games in the final week of the regular season. He's been out since February 26th. So, all right, you get a little, maybe LeBron's going to be back for a few games at the end of the season. Doesn't sound some good news.
Definitely. Right? Much needed good news for the Lakers.
Okay. So LeBron responds, not directly to the post, but responds a couple moments, maybe an hour later. It says, there wasn't an evaluation today, and there hasn't been any target date for my return. I'm just working around the clock every day, 3 times a day, to give myself the best chance of coming back full strength whenever that is. God bless y'all sources. I speak for myself.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, but... So no, so is Woj not telling the truth here? Should we not expect LeBron back at all?
No,
or he just wanted to be the one to announce it. Like, why come out so strong against this?
Yeah, but he did say sort of day to day or whatever. So he probably is coming back next week. But he's got to come back. I mean, this is crunch time right now. They're 2 wins away from being the 6th seed and 1 loss away from being out of the playoffs.
I know.
So. My thought originally was like, wow, LeBron, if you can do anything to get back on the court, you got to do this, man. And maybe that's completely unfair. Maybe
that's what he's saying. He's like, I'm working 3 times a day. But why go out of your way to like basically undercut this report?
I have no, because Because he's LeBron James.
I know, but I've never seen him do something like this before.
What? This doesn't fit into passive-aggressive LeBron James Twitter territory?
Yeah, but this is positive news, isn't it? Like, the Woj report is a positive one. Like, hey, he's going to come back for a few games.
But maybe LeBron was rightfully wanted to set expectations because maybe it's not guaranteed it'll be next week. If it is day-to-day, maybe LeBron's saying, shoot, I don't know for sure. That I don't want the fans to think that I'm coming back next week and then not come back.
Right. How about the Lakers and the Suns game last night? Stu, I know you were watching.
Sure was.
46 free throws from the Lakers. That's a lot. The Suns shot 20 free throws to the Lakers 46. That's like Miami Heat winning the title in 2005 territory. That's like Dwayne Wade stuff. Monty Williams, we have a clip. Monty Williams, the coach of the Suns, was not happy about this.
They had 27 free throws in the first half. They ended up with 46. When do you see a game with 46 free throws for one team? Like that's just not right. I don't care how you slice it. It's happening to us too much. Other teams are reaching, other teams are hitting, and we're not getting the same call. And I'm tired of it.
There you go. Monty Williams not tired. He's tired of it.
Yeah, if you tell him,
46 free throws.
Wait, is that a ton? Actually, I don't even know. I feel like every NBA game is nothing but free throws.
27 in the first half.
Doesn't Harden shoot about 23 a game in his prime?
Usually the discrepancy is not that wild, where one team shoots 46 and the other shoots 20.
Is that right? Actually,
yeah.
Okay. I have no idea.
46 is a painful amount of free throws.
Oh, sounds like a terrible game. Sounds like the NCAA tournament, which is nothing but free throws.
Which resumes tonight. We'll update our bracket of the worst. We'll do that in just a little bit. We also have, what one Hall of Famer had to say about Lamar Jackson. Top of the hour, we'll talk to our pal Jim Nagy, who was at the Alabama Pro Day today. We got the latest. Here's a CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
Another coaching vacancy has been filled, with Providence moving quickly to name Kim English its new head coach. He spent 2 seasons at George Mason, winning 20 games this year with the Patriots. Field of 68 quickly trimmed to 16. 4 teams will take the next step toward Houston tonight. The evening tips off at Madison Square Garden with Michigan State and Kansas State, and concludes with the heavyweight matchup featuring Gonzaga and UCLA, who met in the Final Four 2 years ago when the Zags prevailed on Jalen Suggs' desperation three-pointer. Head coach Mark Few knows it won't be easy tonight once again.
We know we're in for a huge challenge of just their experience and their toughness and their kind of general will to win.
This is the 8th straight Sweet 16 for the Zags. Also tonight, Arkansas takes on UConn. The Razorbacks beat Kansas, eliminating a top seed for the 2nd straight year. The Huskies rolled through the first 2 rounds looking as good as anyone in the tournament. And Tennessee, with one of the best scoring defenses in the nation, will try to slow down high-flying Florida Atlantic, which averages over 78 points a game. Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio is everywhere, at home, in your car, and of course on your phone and tablet. Find us on your local affiliate, SiriusXM Channel 158, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, Maggie, we have more draft news here.
What do you got?
I need you to sort this out for me.
Okay.
Our buddy Albert Breer tweets, sources, Kentucky quarterback Will Levis is having dinner tonight with Panthers owners David and Nicole Tepper, GM Scott Fitterer, head coach Frank Reich, et cetera, about 5 other people. So Will Levis is having dinner with Carolina.
Yeah.
They fell in love with CJ Stroud the other day.
Right.
They were the first people to hug Bryce Young after his throwing workout today at Alabama.
Is that a fact?
I mean, are they basically are they a bit slutty as a team? I mean, are they just putting themselves out there for everybody? What is going on? They just want to have dinner with these quarterbacks?
Never heard it put that way before.
They're draft sluts.
Yeah. That is a new term. I think you should coin that.
Yeah.
You could be a millionaire. The Andrew Perloff Draft Slut Guide 2023.
T-shirts.
Yeah, that could be our T-shirt.
Yeah. I remember
I'm a draft slut.
This all started when we saw the headline that the Panthers owner and his wife were going to CJ Stroud's workout. We said, wow, they must really love this guy.
Yeah.
Like the owner's wife is going and...
Turns out everyone's going to everyone's workout.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. The Raiders are meeting with Bryce Young, and they pick at number 7.
Yep.
Seattle is taking group photos where they're all in love with CJ Stroud. Pete Carroll and CJ Stroud are best friends.
Okay, Pete Carroll's best friends with everybody, except for Russell Wilson.
Exactly. Now I'm starting to wonder, is this just a chance to hang out for everybody, or is this to find out who you're going to draft? Like, what does this all mean?
I mean, I guess you want to see how the person's going to be like at a dinner, you know?
Right, but what if there's no chance you're drafting that person? That's what I don't understand. The Panthers are going to take Will Levis? What? They have the number 1 pick.
I know. I think this is just part of the gamesmanship of the whole thing.
Oh, you think they're sending out?
Yeah, they just they want everyone to know, think they're really turning over every stone on every guy.
Right.
Not like, oh, we already have a favorite.
God, well, what's the point though? They're the number 1 pick.
I know. Jacksonville didn't have to hide that they wanted Trevor Lawrence. You can just say it.
And they did hide it, and everyone thought, oh, maybe Roger Goodell called them and said, hey, add some
for
drama.
the TV aspect of the whole thing.
But even this, though, it seems like I had one more theory about this. Bill Belichick used to interview every single quarterback at the combine every year. Josh McDaniels is a Bill Belichick clone, wants to interview every quarterback, so meets with Bryce Young. But if you're Bryce Young, why are you meeting with a team that you don't think is going to draft you?
Well, you probably have to say yes to everybody, right? Because you're on all these, it's job interviews, so you don't want to say no, and I'm sure it's exhausting. But the other thing is, I think that the Raiders should be in the market for a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like Garoppolo, what is it, $34 million guaranteed? It's not like this crazy amount of guaranteed money. We're talking about quarterbacks. So, yeah, you should be thinking about it. Jimmy Garoppolo is not your long-term answer here. He's your Band-Aid.
Well, yeah, you do kind of want to take a shot this year because you have Devontae Adams, who's a little older. I get that's not a bad plan because you get Jimmy G. Maybe you're really, really good. You have, I don't think you're going to Bryce Young, but you're going to have maybe Anthony Richardson in there. It's not a bad plan.
Speaking of Jimmy G, I'm sorry. I know we're talking about draft. I don't want to get us off on a tangent here. Yeah. But Jimmy G was at a fan event at the Raiders when he signed. They had a bunch of Raiders there. And listen, as fans, we got to rein it in a little.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Double X, man. Double X. Just for you. You're a handsome guy, man.
I don't know what to say to that.
What are you doing? It started off with, hey, I'm going to buy your jersey. Can't wait to get a 10 jersey. And then he's like, yeah, double X. Hey, yeah, cool. He's like, you're a handsome guy. It's like, guys, why, fans, we got to stop being awkward and weird.
I don't know what to say to that.
That's totally fine, I think.
Yeah, For someone to shout out at Jimmy Garoppolo, you're a handsome man.
We've all said it multiple times on the air to a national audience. Jimmy G is a handsome person. If we were face-to-face with him, you wouldn't be like, hey, kind of handsome guy.
No.
Absolutely not.
You would not.
Maybe not you, Maggie.
Of course
I would. I absolutely would. If I saw Jimmy G, I'd be like, dude, you are the most handsome guy in the NFL.
That'd be super awkward. We would pretend not to know you. Be like, that's definitely not our producer.
It's not going to make any difference to me. Come on.
We'd pretend even more.
But he was wearing a black button-down shirt and a black jacket today.
Yeah, it's the.
I mean, he looked awesome.
This is from.
I mean, he looked particularly handsome today.
Jeez, guys.
I mean,
the black on black. I don't know. I mean, listen. I love the Raiders colors.
Not everyone can pull it off. I'll give you that.
Yeah, most of
can.
Black on black. You look like
shocked.
You're the maitre d' or something.
I would say Jimmy pulled it off 100%. And then he said that the tuck rule was a fumble, and everyone started cheering. Like, he was on point today.
His audience.
Yeah, dude, this might work.
You hated the move. Now you love
him. He's a politician. Love it.
Yeah. Just watching him walk around the facility or wherever that was today, I was like, oh my God, they're going to be good.
I definitely recall Jimmy G telling Patriot fans that there's no way that was a fumble.
Yeah, no. When he's in New England, it's it was a forward pass. When he's in Las Vegas, it was a fumble.
This is a man whose own grandmother was on a Subway ad calling him stupid. I mean, and did she say it's a good thing he's so good looking?
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy G's looks.
That wasn't his grandmother.
Oh, his aunt?
No, I think it was an actor.
Oh. I thought,
an actor playing his.
Yeah, but I don't think it's like the Chunky Soup commercial was like really Donovan McNabb's mom.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, who else? I think Jimmy G rules don't apply. I think Mike might be right. He's the one person in sports.
Okay, the other part of this that is total BS when Jimmy's like, I don't know how to answer that. It's like, well, you probably have encountered this before. Again, we got to rein it in as fans. Can't just say anything you want, but I'm sure he's heard this.
I don't know what to say to that.
Yeah, you definitely do. It's like, thanks. You just say thanks to a compliment, right?
No, I know, but I think he was saying to the camera. I think it was a funny line.
It was great.
Yeah.
All right, now everybody's in on the Raiders. We have to get to our bracket. Sweet 16 tonight. Tips off 6:30 Eastern time with Michigan State and Kansas State. Then you got Arkansas and UConn, FAU and Tennessee, and then the nightcap, Gonzaga and UCLA. But we have to update the Maggie and Perloff bracket of stuff that is the worst.
I think that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
We're so behind on this, so forgive us. We'll do the West region right now. We're on to the second round, Perloff. So let's get through our first round results. First and number 1 overall seed Moving easily took care of 16-seeded expired food. 8-seeded empty containers that you put back into the fridge, that are put back in the fridge. I don't agree with this. It beat 9-seeded Bad Wedding Speeches.
It's the worst idea I've ever heard in my lifetime.
I thought that Bad Wedding Speeches was going to make a Cinderella-like run to the Final Four.
I think if it had been long wedding speeches, that would have been, those are the worst. Bad wedding speeches could be kind of fun. So maybe that's what, long are the worst. All you want to do is get drunk and you have to wait for this long speech. Terrible.
Yeah, you can't really go to the bar while someone's giving their speech.
Bad ones you can totally
make fun of
and talk about afterwards.
You're right. 5th-seeded Stubbing Your Toe takes care of 12th-seeded difficult board game directions. We got an upset. 13-seeded Smashing Your Phone Screen took out 4th-seeded Putting Together IKEA Furniture.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that was a misseeding because I love putting together IKEA furniture.
No. But I
on
think
an island there.
I think Smashing Your Phone probably deserved higher than 13.
Yeah, apparently you're not.
That's pretty bad, too. They're both pretty bad. Was that even close? Do we have
73% of.
Wow.
Yeah, that wasn't close. I think people like putting together IKEA stuff more than we think.
6-seeded accidentally liking something on social media. The worst. Squeaks by 11-seeded telemarketer calls. You know what I think has helped telemarketer calls when they put potential spam?
Yeah, it's a different
world
technology's
now.
helped us a lot with that.
Yeah.
I just got a call from Armenia about 10 minutes ago, but I knew not to get it.
that could have been someone needing your help.
You're just going to miss that one important call one day.
Yeah. Our biggest fans are in Armenia. Okay. Number 3-seeded Traffic Jams cruises past 14-seeded Snow. 7-seeded when subscriptions automatically renew took care of being too short at a concert. Which that was
really the worst.
Our homage to you, Mike Samter. And 2nd-seeded Forgetting Your Wallet just walked over 15-seeded Food Stuck in Your Teeth, and you're not sure how long it's been there.
Yeah.
So the second round matchup, 1st-seeded Moving, number 1 overall seed Moving, up against 8-seeded Putting an Empty Container Back into the Fridge. 5th-seeded Stubbing Your Toe goes up against 13-seeded Smashing Your Phone Screen. 3rd-seeded Traffic Jams against 6th-seeded Accidentally Liking Something on Social Media. And 2-seed Forgetting Your Wallet against 7-seed Subscription That Automatically Renews.
I'm feeling some regret that we didn't put Moist Handshake on there.
Me too.
That is definitely, there's only 2 words to describe that, the worst.
So bad.
That would have been a 1-seed. I think it was too awful for us to even think about it in advance.
You know, it didn't even occur to me until we started talking about social faux pas, like greeting faux pas earlier in the show. Moist Handshake. Now everyone in the chat has changed their names to Moist something. I mean, heady play, guys. Like, well done.
Very mature chat.
Somebody's a little bit confused. He wants to go with it, but it's M-word. He's going with M-word and his new username. So he can't actually say the word M. He wants to join the party, but he can't say the word. So he's going M-word and then name.
Got it.
Okay. I mean, it's pretty funny. I wonder how long they're going to keep it. Now we're just like a moist chat. That doesn't sound right either.
Although I do like a moist cake. That is one word that I could put those 2 words together.
Yeah, what about a cookie? Cake, a cookie, anything.
Moist cookie, yeah.
Right?
Immediately lose my appetite for it.
But you want a cake not to be dry. A dry cake is pretty bad.
It's awful. It's not even worth the calories.
Yeah, I think you'll see a Betty Crocker box. It'll say moist that people are into.
I want the cake to be that word. I don't want anyone to say the word in describing it.
Interesting.
It's getting in a weird. We're going in a weird direction.
Yeah. Speaking of weird, did you see UConn? They're playing tonight. They had to switch hotel rooms in Vegas because when they got to their hotel, several of the rooms had not been made up, had not been cleaned. So apparently there was dirt vomit, and worse. What's the and worse?
I think we can imagine.
Yeah, something you find at a porta potty?
Yes.
I
mean, first of all, I would like to see what the party was at the rooms that were happening.
Yeah, yikes. I don't know if I want to be at that party, actually.
Yeah, but what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. My first question, was there gamesmanship? Was this a New England Patriots situation where Bill Belichick made sure that they had a terrible, or Boston Celtics used to do
the people
this?
from Arkansas somehow got into those rooms and trashed them?
The Raiders used to always famously pull the fire alarm of the opposing team's hotel.
Yeah, Bart Scott told me that used to happen in New England too.
Yeah.
Every time the Jets were up there to play the Patriots, someone would pull the fire alarm in the middle of the night.
Yeah. I like that kind of gamesmanship.
Yeah, that's
but it doesn't sound like that's what happened here.
No, I think this was just like somehow there was a mix-up and their rooms didn't get cleaned, so they had to switch hotels.
Wow. By the way, I've always been fascinated. College players tutor room, is that how a team works?
I don't know. I always assume so.
Yeah, they don't get their own rooms in college.
Maybe college basketball they do.
I don't think so. Even pro hockey players don't even get their own room.
Then probably not.
Yeah.
It's probably a two-to-a
But it could be three-to-a-room. Cot? Those are tall guys.
That's not a good night's sleep before biggest game of your life. You can't do that before the Sweet 16.
Especially if you have to move rooms 3 times. Oh,
that's no good. Coming up, our pal Jim Nagy, former NFL scout, was at Alabama's Pro Day. We'll hear the latest on Bryce Young, Will Anderson, and all your favorite college players next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
In Pittsburgh, local bowling alley is doing naked night. You got to be totally naked if you're going to bowl. Starts at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which I thought was a little early for all naked bowling.
I'll tell you where that bag is going. It's going over my head, so I don't have to see any naked bowlers in Pittsburgh at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Most sports, if you played them naked, would be just gross, right? Bowling, you could kind of tactfully do that.
No. Everything's swinging around there. We're going to bowling. I'm competing to win, clothes or no clothes. I'm not going to just stand there so my junk doesn't fly around.
I can't think of another sport that you could do gracefully or tactfully while naked. Well, I thought of one, race car driving. Honestly, who would know?
I had a NASCAR joke about the Bush brothers.
Don't do it.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff Show, Hour 3. I love the Pro Day circuit. I think it's a little bit overrated, but it has been fun. Maggie, you and I have been watching.
Yes.
Bryce Young all day today, CJ Stroud all day yesterday. Everybody's having a great time. There are bro hugs abounding. Everyone loves everybody.
Solid bro hugs.
And lucky for us, we have a good friend who was probably bro-hugging everybody today at Alabama and the other day at Auburn. And, of course, that's the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl, Jim Nagy, who is a scout a long time for the Baltimore Ravens and many other – Ravens? Seahawks. Many other teams. Jim, you were just coming from Alabama. So how many bro hugs did you give out on a daily basis? Because you know everybody in the scouting world.
Yeah, I'm bro hugged out after today. No, it was there was a lot of that going around, but it was a great day. It's always fun. That's always kind of like the pinnacle of pro day season is that Alabama workout. I want to say there was 12 general managers and 10 head coaches, so you get 22 decision makers at a pro day. That's a big deal.
Honestly, it seems kind of light. I would think every team would want to go to Alabama, even if you're not scouting quarterbacks, Jim, just for all the other talent on the team.
And that's usually why they draw such a big crowd because, I mean, you've got at the top of each position group, you've got Will Anderson on the defensive line, Jahmyr Gibbs that will be at running back, Brian Branch in the secondary, Henry To'oTo'o at linebacker. So, yeah, I mean, basically Tyler Steen on the offensive line. Every position group had a guy that's probably going to go in the top 50 picks. So, yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a Baskin-Robbins pro day. There's a flavor for everybody.
Jim, so obviously the premier guy was Bryce Young. Now you've known Bryce Young now, I know, for a while. We've hung out with him 2 times in L.A. He looked a little bigger to me in his workout than I've seen him in the past. Now he didn't weigh in today. What was your sense physically of the Alabama quarterback?
Yeah, he's definitely changed his body from the first time that I met him. Like you said a couple of years ago when we were in L.A. at that quarterback camp. But yeah, he's put on some good bulk. He's got some traps to him now. He's got a little chest on him now. just bulking up. I mean, everyone's going to get hung up on the size thing, and I get it. I mean, this is the time of year where everyone's trying to poke holes. Really hard to poke holes in Bryce Young's tape. It's hard to poke holes in the person, in the brain. I mean, he's high level and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, the easiest thing to do is point to the size, and there's no getting around the fact that there's going to be a roll of the dice element with Bryce based off the size and just him being able to withstand a 17-game schedule. But I worked for a team for 4 years in Kansas City where we never took a shot at quarterback, and then we all end up being shown the door. So if you need one, you got to take a shot. And if the only knock is size, shoot, man, I mean, this guy's got everything else.
Wow, so you don't think so his size is not enough to scare you off, Jim? Because I thought the day the Panthers traded up to number 1, we were on the air while it happened, and I said they're trading up for Bryce Young. But then it's like this love fest between the Panthers and CJ Stroud. The Vegas odds say it's going to be Stroud, but I always thought it was going to be Young. For you, you would take him.
Yeah, I would take him, certainly. No, if you need one, he's got he's got stuff you can't coach. I mean, his instincts are off the charts, his feel for the position. You can't take a ton away from a pro day workout, but he threw with great anticipation today, and he does that on tape. I mean, that's hard to coach. Guys that don't need to see a really clear picture when they throw it. They can, he's like his ability to lead a receiver exactly where they need to be. You saw that today, and I would certainly take him. And again, the love affair thing with the Panthers, I get it. They actually had 2 private jets. Going from Columbus to Tuscaloosa today to accommodate the 14 people that were part of the traveling contingent. But they met with Nick Saban at 11 o'clock this morning before the pro day got rolling. That whole big crew with Frank Reich and Josh McCown and Scott Fitter and the Teppers. I mean, they got FaceTime with Nick today. They got a lot of FaceTime with Bryce. So it's hard to read in too much to some bro hugs at the end of a pro day. And I saw that with CJ. And everyone's buying it. Everyone's getting behind that. But the same thing happened here today. And they're on their way to. I think they're on their way to Kentucky.
Yeah.
So it'll be Will Levis's time tomorrow. So that's just what this kind of year is about. But I wouldn't read too much into what we see going on the field after these workouts.
Right. When you're in a building for a team, are you trying to read the tea leaves when other teams either interview a player or have them out to the facility or meet them at their pro day? Or, is there a danger of overrating what that means? It sounds like you're not, you don't buy that. Just because the owner meets with a quarterback doesn't mean that much.
Well, that's a really good question, Andrew. I mean, I think there's you can get caught up in some smokescreen stuff, and teams intentionally do some smokescreen stuff. But we did. I mean, the teams I work for, we tracked it. I mean, everything gets out there nowadays. I mean, you used to be able to hide it a little more as a club, but right now, I mean, if the guy has a 30 visit, with a team, or he's got a position coach coming in to work him out privately, the agents want that to be known now. So that all gets out there. And again, what you do is then you track that year to year and see, okay, did they draft these guys that they're bringing in? Is there any correlation? So, the teams that really do their homework and dig in, I think there's something to be taken from it. But like I said, sometimes it's tough because, sometimes it is teams will bring in guys on visits and they will go to work.
Jim Nagy is joining us. He's the executive director of the Senior Bowl. He's at the Alabama Pro Day today and spent 2 decades as an NFL scout. Jim, can you give us an example of a time from when you were scouting where you guys either deliberately had a smoke screen where you looked really interested in somebody but weren't, or when you deliberately didn't show interest publicly in someone because you didn't want your competition to know you were going to take that person?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. I think that it happens more the latter. I think you'll avoid a pro day setting like today. I mean, like the Houston Texans weren't represented there by their head coach or their general manager, and their new head coach DeMeco Ryans is an Alabama alum, so great player there. So I thought he might show up, and the Indianapolis Colts, who are in the quarterback market, Chris Ballard, their GM, and Shane Steichen, their head coach, weren't there. So I think sometimes more often than showing up at places you don't show up, kind of show your hand, if that makes sense.
We're talking to Jim Nagy, executive director of the Senior Bowl.
Wait. So should we read into the fact that DeMeco Ryans and the Texans were not there? No, right?
I don't think so. No, because they'll work him. They'll that contingent, Nick Casario, the GM, and D'Amico. I'm sure that at some point they'll fly to Tuscaloosa and they'll work Bryce out, and they'll go to Columbus. But and they did have representatives there. I mean, they had kind of the number 2 guy in the personnel department. James Lipford was there, so they had people there watching the workout. But no, I'm saying we've got. I mean, that's the crazy thing, guys. We have like 6 weeks to the draft. I mean, this is going to get. There's still so much time left for these teams to connect with these players, and I'm sure that'll happen down the road.
Jim, I was curious. The Raiders met with Bryce Young, and they're at number 7 in the draft. And it seems unlikely Bryce Young would be available for them. Why do teams that might be a little bit out of draft range make an effort to meet with these guys? Is that just curiosity, or do you think there's any scenario where the Raiders get up to, say, number 3 and they are actually looking at Bryce Young?
Yeah, I think they're just doing all their due diligence. I mean, the Seahawks were there today en masse with John Schneider, the GM, Pete Carroll, the head coach, and they were, Will Anderson. They might be staring at Will Anderson at number 5, so I'm sure they were there to see Will as well, including all these other guys. But if you're the Raiders, I mean, who knows? I mean, it's going to take a lot to get up to number 1 or number 2 and trade up. But I think you need to exhaust all your options. And another thing that does happen is teams are just doing their homework now for potentially free agency 4 or 5 years from now, and cultivate that relationship. So, if wherever Bryce goes 4 or 5 years from now, if he's a free agent and they need him, there's, they've laid some groundwork there and there's some familiarity. So I do think that happens as well.
Jim Nagy is our guest. He's the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl and was a NFL scout for 2 decades. He's at Alabama's Pro Day today, so we're getting some intel on what it was like boots on the ground. But, Jim, I want to ask you about the 2 other quarterbacks who have not had the Pro Days yet, Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. Put your scout hat on. What do you make of those guys from the tape you've watched?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. The Pro Day is going to serve both those guys very well. They were both, Will and Anthony were at the Manning camp this summer in Thibodaux, Louisiana. Had a chance to watch them throw for a couple of days, and they were head and shoulders physically above everyone else there. I mean, it was literally every top quarterback. Bryce was there. CJ was not. CJ Stroud did not show up to that event. But so they're going to excel in that. I think with the tape, where teams need to get with Will Levis is they really need to hone in on the instincts part of it. And they're, in terms of, that even statistically, if you dug into that a little bit, didn't have quite the same year that he had a year ago. And a lot can be, put on the offensive line. Protection wasn't as good. Playmakers maybe not as good. But what teams are dialing into right now is just how instinctive is he? Like one GM told me, he's like, Jim, he just doesn't look like a guy that played a lot of playground sandlot football. And then with Anthony, it's a similar thing, just 13 career starts. How quickly can we get him on the field? Because physically, Anthony Richardson has everything. I actually watched a bunch of the tape 2 weeks ago. We sat around as a staff and dug into some of these juniors who we never scouted for the Senior Bowl. And to me, Anthony, there's some rawness there because he hasn't played a ton. But I came away thinking he's closer to getting on the field in the NFL than I thought he was before I watched all the tape. So, those two guys will be in the mix. And Richardson's a really, really intriguing guy.
That's really interesting. Jim, it's funny. You said you were looking at juniors. Last year at this time, you told us the quarterback class wasn't great in so many words. And then it played out. There was only one first rounder. Mm-hmm. You were dead right because every mock draft had a bunch of quarterbacks going the first round. Now, this year, I was curious.
This is why we listen to Jim.
Yeah. Are there could be, you're seeing, for what they're worth, mock drafts 1, 2, 3, 5 quarterback or 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterback. And it looks like there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks. Is that because of demand or supply? Is this class of quarterbacks so excellent, or is it really about the teams this year?
Well, last year was a really interesting case study because, the conventional wisdom is that quarterbacks get pushed up the board, right? Like, you hear it all the time, quarterbacks get overdrafted. And I think last year we saw that not happen. I really thought Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati had a chance to go late in the first last year. But it ended up just being Kenny Pickett. So we'll see. Like, is that a new trend? Are teams going to really value these guys for how they should be valued, or are we going to see teams reach? I think physically the 4 guys we're talking about up at the top all have the physical stuff. I don't know if they all have the tape merit top 10 consideration. And then the fifth guy is going to be Hendon Hooker. And I saw like Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network, who I have a ton of respect for. I've known DJ forever. We were at a lot of schools back in the day together as scouts. And he's got Hendon in his first round in the middle of the 20s, like 25 overall or something. And, that one's going to be interesting because, Hendon had some pretty good tape before he got hurt this year. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm answering your question.
Yeah.
I just think that, there's those four guys up top. Hendon's kind of in the mix, but I feel like last year was a little bit of a departure from where we usually were with the quarterbacks. I think teams waited, and we'll see if that happens again. I certainly think that Stroud and Levis will be the first two to go. I would have a hard time not seeing that.
Stroud and Young, you mean, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Stroud and Young.
Right.
And Richardson to me is a guy that there's just way too much there. Physically and on tape. I think someone's going to take a shot there.
Well, the reason I was asking, too, is you also hear something you hear a lot of years. Oh, next year's quarterback class is outstanding. And you really get some tape with juniors. And I kind of get that. Maggie and I talk about Caleb Williams all the time.
We guess which teams are going to be tanking this year just for him.
And names like Drake May, I don't know if these guys are going to be seniors and you're scouting them. And a lot of the COVID guys stuck around and are going to be in next year's draft. Is there any teams that you think might be, hey, well, let's wait for next year?
And that happens every year, Andrew. I mean, you look at I even remember like Matt Barkley, right? Like if Matt Barkley would have come out as after his junior year, he would have been the number one pick overall. Then he stays in school. It's way too premature. I mean, I'm telling you this, like the NFL guys haven't even dug into Drake May and Caleb Williams yet. Like, do both those guys pop out on tape when you're watching, this year's group of players? Absolutely. You're watching Jordan Addison at USC. You see some crazy stuff from Caleb Williams, but until you really dig in and get your hands dirty, then you're not seeing the flaws as much. You're just seeing the flashes. So we'll see. I mean, usually this early premature, like this class is going to be great talk, usually tempers itself, and it probably will by next year. But like you said, there was a lot of guys in this year's class. There was two players, Bo Nix from Oregon, who we invited to the Senior Bowl and went back to school for another year. Bo's going to be up there. Bo's going to be right now probably a second or third round guy if the draft were today. And then Keaton Slovis. We invited Keaton Slovis from Pitt. And not only did he go back to school, he transferred to BYU. So, this year's quarterback class was really weird. This NIL money is really changing stuff. Guys aren't as quick to leave, knowing that they can hit a big payday and stay in school. And I think that's what happened with some of those guys this year.
It's not just on the football side. You saw Armando Bacot just decided to go back to UNC for a sixth year, right? Jim, can't tell you how much we appreciate this. We value your opinion, your expertise so much. Last one for you. We were talking about bro hugs and stuff before. Perloff and I were wondering, like, when you encounter someone and you don't remember their name, what's your go-to there?
Oh, well, my go-to is try to, subtly look down at their name tag at a pro day and see if I can.
Amateur move, Jim. I'm on it. Honestly, come on.
see if I can get it that way, but if I can't, it's, usually like Bud or Dude or, something like that. Those are the usual fallbacks.
That's so weird because last time you saw me, you said, hey, Bud.
And then looked at your name tag. It's odd. Jim, thank you. Appreciate this and hope to catch up with you down the road.
Yeah, it was great coming on. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Jim.
Jim Nagy is the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl.
Wow.
I know. He really likes Richardson, you can tell. Definitely loves Bryce Young. Definitely, Stroud. But he said with Richardson, there's a lot more on tape than he thought. He was closer to being ready to get on the field than he originally thought.
I didn't read it that way. I thought it was, I didn't think Richardson was even close. Maybe he's closer. I didn't think he was ready to go all in on Richardson. It's I think he and everybody else thought, there's no way this guy's ready because how many games did he win in college football? Just a handful.
Well, he had 13 starts.
Yeah, and he threw 17 touchdowns or something. I think he started with a lower bar. He said, maybe there's some more to work with.
Yeah.
I came away convinced that he thinks it's going to be Young and Stroud. I think so, too.
Yeah, I think so, too, also.
Yeah.
But I thought also it was interesting that Nagy said that a GM told him that Will Levis doesn't look like someone who played a lot of sandlot football.
Yeah.
That's interesting because guys now, I don't know if that's true or not true, but guys now, it's like you have a quarterback coach from the time you're like 10.
You have a quarterback coach, but Will Levis is awkward in game situations.
No, I know, but it's like that's interesting because like maybe he's one of these guys. I have no idea if this is true or not. Who has been like just super coached in these like very like curated environments. Maybe he really hasn't played a lot of backyard football. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think Will Levis obviously was at Penn State and was the running quarterback.
Yeah,
I don't think he's been one of those quarterback coach guru. He has an amazing arm and stuff. No, I don't think that's Will Levis. I just think for whatever reason, I think what Jim is saying is he's not an instinctual.
Yeah, there's just not. Yes.
Bryce Young.
Like when the play breaks down, there's no.
Right. You see Bryce Young when it's game action and it's a critical moment in the fourth quarter, this magic starts to happen where he hasn't seen that from Levis yet.
Yeah.
But then again, he did point out Levis is very skilled. So
and physically, head and shoulders.
Do you think a coach could see that and say, "Wow, I can teach him how to do that," or something like that?
Can you teach instincts?
Well, that's this process. The coaches see the fast 40, the big arm, and they say, "Yeah, I could coach that guy." That's what coaches do.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Really appreciate every time Jim Nagy comes on the show. All right, coming up, we've got an update. One free agent where they could be headed, maybe to Perloff's team. We'll get to that in just a moment. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff in just a sec.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. Gosh, we say some weird things.
Yeah, we do say some weird things.
Yeah.
Got a shot of the day coming up soon.
Yeah, that is I'm not sure if it's PC enough, but I think it is a draft term, and I'll tease it, that will catch on down the road.
Listen, you might have cracked the code. We should just say what it is. We don't want to leave the audience in the dark.
Yeah,
But
draft slut.
Draft sluts.
Which is an owner who just goes to dinner with every quarterback in the class. Has no functional. He's the number one pick. There's no functional purpose, Maggie.
For the David Tepper, the owner of the Panthers, to go to dinner with every top quarterback.
Yeah, he just bought this team so he could go to dinner with a bunch of top quarterback prospects. Is that what's going on?
It's an expensive way to.
By the way, it's something I would totally do.
Yeah, he's a David Tepper : draft slut.
Yeah, I mean,
you're a draft slut guy 2023.
Yeah.
We could be millionaires.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, settle yourselves, Panthers. After that CJ Stroud workout.
Yeah, come with draft VD.
Yeah.
855-212-4CBS. I think you got to go to a clinic. That one's not going to get done.
Draft VD.
Draft VD.
Oh, boy.
It's just the next logical step.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to say something, but I thought it might get me in trouble.
Well, we'll find out if we're going to get in trouble in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Keep it in your pants, Panthers. I don't even know what that means. I'm so sorry.
No. You know their hashtag is keep pounding.
No. It is not.
Sorry.
It is not.
I'm 10 years old.
You're kidding, right?
No, that's the hashtag.
Oh, no.
The Panthers, they got the big drum. Remember, Steph Curry was,
Is that
doing
the
it
one
before the Super Bowl.
When their wide receiver, all I remember is Robbie Anderson couldn't understand what animal the mascot was.
Yeah, he goes, "What's that bear doing over there?" I think you mean the panther.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in Carolina. A lot going on.
Oh my goodness!
I think we might need to adopt that team as our new favorite team.
Yeah, maybe the Panthers are now our name. Keep
There's
pounding.
A lot going on.
Yeah,
keep pounding.
You draft sluts, keep pounding. All right, this story we thought was just kind of ridiculous. It's the cardinal sin in sports. You cannot, Perloff, take on the fans and blame them for your problems. Now, Dana Altman is the head coach of the Oregon men's basketball team. They're playing in the NIT. They played Wisconsin in their own arena, and it was sparsely attended. And Wisconsin won. And now Altman is trying to blame the loss on the lack of fan support.
We should have more people here tonight, all right? 3,300 people, it's not good enough. And if it's me, then get rid of me. But 3,300 people is embarrassing. It really is. If it's me, make the change. If somebody will hire me somewhere, I'll go coach junior college ball again.
I mean, you can't do it, Coach. Is it me? First of all, are you asking to get fired? I doubt you want to go from Oregon to junior college. But, I mean, it's your second straight year in the NIT. Yep. So the fans weren't packing the arena.
A little context here.
Okay, go ahead.
Altman was calling out the program for not. He said they don't promote the basketball program.
Yeah,
and they don't do any ads. They don't have their cheerleaders. They don't do anything. He's like, what's our department doing here? We're not doing anything to promote basketball. He was calling out the
but when you're in the Final Four, you probably didn't need a lot of promotion. Like, this fixes itself. Everyone's going to know when Oregon men's basketball has a game if you're good.
So you're saying quality is enough marketing?
Yes. I mean, first of all, it's University of Oregon where everybody is into sports. It seems like the athletic program is robust. They've got all the Nike money. Like, everyone loves sports there. So if you're good, the fans are gonna support you.
That's true. He was saying Wisconsin brought their cheerleaders, and Oregon didn't even bother to have their cheerleaders at the game.
Well, I mean,
that does speak to me a little bit of a lack of commitment from the program.
Lack of commitment. I mean,
I feel like
can you really accuse Oregon of not supporting their basketball team?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I know they have that funky core. Yeah, I think they care about football. I don't think they care about basketball. And I will say that. And that's exactly, he said the exact word last night.
I know, but he wasn't making these claims when they were going to Final Fours and Elite Eights. The fact that he's been in the NIT back-to-back, like yes, I understand you want unconditional love. I get it. But the reality is in athletics is you're going to get more attention when you're good.
Well, Wisconsin brought their. I think it's a valid point. Like, why is Wisconsin, the road team, have cheerleaders there, and you have a cheerleading squad?
Yeah.
And they just didn't want to cheer at the NIT game? I think there's something else going on here. That it reminds me a little bit of Penn State.
Okay, in what way?
Penn State basketball had a good year, and their coach gets hired away by Notre Dame, Shrewsbury.
Yep.
Penn State does not care about their basketball program, and it shows, and that's why they'll never be good, because they always pull resources from it. I think that's what Dana Altman is saying. Hey, basketball.
Do you think, could you really blame a loss because the cheerleaders weren't there?
He's not outright. That's what I'm saying.
Crazy. Then that's why it sounds so dumb. You can't blame a loss on the cheerleaders not being there, and you can't blame a loss on fans not being there.
He did not, to be fair to Dana Altman, he did not directly blame the loss on the lack of cheerleaders.
No, but he said it was embarrassing that they didn't have the support.
Basically, what is going on with our program here? Why does this feel like we're a JV squad?
Well, go to Phil Knight and ask for more money. I don't know. Like,
yeah,
he's saying I don't need to promote the program. I just need to coach the program. Well, maybe that's not. Maybe you do need to promote the program. Why do coaches do any interviews on radio shows to promote the program?
Right, and that's exactly what, I mean, he was basically doing that right here. He was saying to the administration, you better get your act together and get on board with this basketball program.
I hate when people call out the fans, like, why aren't you here supporting us? It's like, well, maybe we don't want to go watch you in the NIT. Maybe 3,300 fans is about all we could muster for the NIT when the expectation should be the tournament. You take on the fans, you're going to lose. It's like the one thing that anyone in sports has to know, the athletes, the coaches, unless like the fans are doing something really heinous and you have to call them out, but just not showing up, you can't call them out on that.
What about, does he have a right to call out his own administration for not promoting the team? Would you do that? Because he did say a lot of that. Like, I'm not a promoter. Yeah. Why is no one promoting this team?
Well, I mean, again, they didn't need the promotion when he was in the Elite Eight or when they were in the Final Four. I think he has his own answer there. Like, if you are playing more meaningful games.
Well, Wisconsin clearly promotes their program, and they weren't having any success.
I know, but maybe that's Wisconsin. Maybe the expectations for Wisconsin basketball are different than Oregon basketball.
Yeah, I mean, Wisconsin's probably higher,
yeah, it's about the same.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so anyway, I just
think he's fine?
I think he's right. I think he was saying I think there seems to be an organizational failure here. And I understand, no, of course it's terrible to call out the fans, but that is kind of weird that only 3,300 fans were there. Like, what is going on?
Well, I mean, again,
it's
the second year in a row it's the NIT also. It's not like this is a one-year blip.
I have no idea. I mean, there's a Sacred Heart midseason hockey game up the road in Connecticut that gets 10,000 people. You're telling me 3,300 people? Something's going wrong there. It's not just the quality of basketball.
Maybe it is him. I don't know. He asked, is it me? See, that's the thing.
I would be thrilled if my school was in the NIT.
When you ask the question, is it me? That's really something you don't want the answer to.
I think it's clearly there's obviously one priority at Oregon, and it ain't basketball. It is football, a little track, and more football.
But Dana Altman has been at Oregon for how long? Over a decade?
Yeah.
He knows the deal.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't like it, then go to a place that doesn't have a football program.
He just lost in the NIT and said, fire me, I'll go to JUCO, I don't care.
It's a strange thing to say.
But do you find it weird that Penn State can't have a basketball team?
I mean, Penn State went on a nice little run here at the end of the season.
Yeah,
but you don't see a lot of NBA guys coming from Penn State.
No, and I'm sure they've probably never been to an Elite Eight. because they won't pay for basketball. There's certain schools.
Well, now it's NIL, so it's not even it's not even the school. It's like the collective.
Well, right, but they wouldn't pay for this coach. They let him go to Notre Dame.
Right.
Even though they're a Big Ten team. I think there's certain schools that just don't care about basketball, and then it eventually permeates down.
But then there's other unique things about it. Like Penn State, people might not know this, but Penn State has like one of the greatest women's volleyball programs in the country. They spare no expense. The young women who play for the team are the top-rated, top-ranked. So, like, all right, their basketball might not be great, but the women's volleyball is amazing. So, just sometimes.
Well, yeah, but.
I don't know. It doesn't bring in money in, I'm sure, but it's just because you're not good at basketball. You can be football and something else, you know?
Yeah, but why can't Penn State be? Why would Penn State not be as good at Notre Dame as basketball?
I think it's tradition, right? Like that plays into it too.
I think Oregon has a similar problem. I think Oregon football is a much bigger deal. So anyway, I'm not calling out the fans either, but I do think it's odd. 3,300 people to an NIT game? What the heck is going on there? What are you doing, Oregon?
I don't know. Maybe
how many people do you think go to the spring game?
Maybe you have like class the next day. I have no idea what's going on.
I mean, your team is bad, but you're not that bad. It just seems
maybe it's a silent protest.
Part of me also says like maybe they should fire Dana Altman. You know, maybe.
Jeffrey in the chat saying Penn State wrestling's always on top too.
Right.
It's like they have these other parts of their athletic department. Just basketball happens not to be one of them. I don't know, and I don't know how you change it.
Well, for one,
more money for coaches. Sure,
you could pay not let your coach go to Notre Dame. But also, too, I understand wrestling and all those are good, but there's two revenue sports. There's football and basketball, and it's hard. It's very hard when you talk about all the sports.
Mm-hmm.
But this is about Oregon. I think Oregon basketball is in a bad place here. What are they doing? Maybe they should fire this coach. Well, he's calling out the fans. The fans have lost all interest.
He basically just dared the administration to fire him. I wonder if he's got a big buyout or something. Fire me, please.
I got to be honest. If I'm the Oregon coach and I look up at an NIT game and there are 3,000 people in the crowd, I'm wondering, hey, what am I doing with my life here?
Jeez, what do I do with my life? The guy coached a Final Four.
He just said it. I was like, well, maybe I should just go to JUCO. I mean, this is a mess. I'm not saying it's right to call out the fans, but he's right. This points to something doesn't smell right in Eugene.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Get you set for the Sweet 16 games tonight. No, Oregon will not be playing. But you got a good one for the West Coasters, UCLA and Gonzaga. And whenever these two teams meet, it's great. So we've got that. We'll get you set for all the men's basketball tonight right after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
Well, by the end of the weekend, the Final Four will be set. Tonight, the Sweet 16 begins in New York with Michigan State and Kansas State. The next game to tip off will be Arkansas and UConn, while the Huskies have looked terrific through their first two games, winning easily. Next up for Danny Hurley's crew, the 8th-seeded Razorbacks, which has knocked out a number one seed now in back-to-back years.
Excited to play in T-Mobile, fabulous arena. Obviously, a really exciting four programs here, and should be a unbelievable challenge versus the Arkansas team that was playing like the top 10 team that they were projected to be in the preseason.
The winner of this one will face the winner of UCLA and Gonzaga, which is making its 8th straight Sweet 16 appearance. The other regional semifinal tonight features Florida Atlantic and Tennessee. Kim English taking over the coaching reins at Providence. The 34-year-old is coming off 2 seasons at George Mason, in which he led the Patriots to 20 wins this past year. I'm Rich Ackerman.
The NCAA basketball tournament is here. The Blue Bloods, the Cinderellas, the Brackets, and the Buzzer Beaters. Talk about all the action with us 24/7 on your local affiliate, SiriusXM Channel 158, social media, and the free Odyssey app.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie Perloff. This has been an odd show. Should probably say that a lot about a lot of shows. Got into a lot of unique conversations today. Let's hit our Casamigo shot of the day.
He shoots!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. You never know where inspiration is going to come from. For Andrew Perloff, inspiration hit while talking about the Panthers and all of the interviews they're doing with these quarterbacks.
So Will Levis is having dinner with Carolina.
Yeah.
They fell in love with CJ Stroud the other day.
Right.
They were the first people to hug Bryce Young after his throwing workout today at Alabama.
Is that a fact?
I mean, are they a bit slutty as a team? I mean, are they just putting themselves out there for everybody? What is going on?
Never heard it put that way before.
They're draft sluts.
Yeah. That is a new term. I think you should coin that.
Yeah.
You could be a millionaire. The Andrew Perloff draft slut guide 2023. I stand by it. Really, I mean, you're sitting on a gold mine right here.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of true, though, right?
Listen, the Panthers are doing their due diligence, which now means
doing their
slutty.
due diligence. It sounds like a euphemism, Maggie.
It does. Oh, man.
What is their hashtag again?
Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
How could you forget?
We're never going to forget that. We're never look at the Panthers. Whoever says they're a boring franchise, take it back immediately.
Keep it in your pants, Panthers. I can't even say it.
Hashtag keep it in your pants, Panthers.
Keep it in your Panthers.
Wow. Keep in mind, I am actually a Panthers fan now.
Yeah, well, we all are.
Well, because Andy Dalton's the quarterback of the Panthers.
Oh, right.
Easy to forget. I could tell that it skipped everybody's mind.
Sorry, wherever he goes, you shall follow.
I was hoping they'd trade up and take a linebacker or something. So Andy could play
Will Anderson
This
Jr.
is draft day.
Yeah.
What if the Panthers trade from 9 to 1 and take a defensive tackle and start Andy Dalton next year?
But
Let's
not
go.
Jalen Carter.
Keep pounding.
Oh, man. I'm never going to look at the Panthers the same after that. Oh, man. Okay. Well, we were also talking about what's going on in Oregon and Eugene. Dana Altman was calling out the fans because they did not attend, or very few attended, their NIT loss to Wisconsin, which was on their own campus. Chad is in Green Bay. He's got a thought on the whole situation. What's up, Chad?
Hey, guys. Happy Thursday.
Appreciate it.
First on Wisconsin.
There you go.
So I think you guys missed the most important part of that rant, because after he says that JUCO thing about firing him, he says something like, those kids just, all they want to do is ball. They leave it all on the court. Isn't that a pretty big shot at his own players?
Oh, yeah, I mean...
Wait, sorry, I don't understand. Those kids meaning the other team?
No, meaning he said, I'll go to JUCO.
Junior college kids.
Oh,
Those kids leave it all out on the court. Wait, Stu, let's play it again. This was Dana Altman after the loss last night.
We should have more people here tonight, all right? 3,300 people, it's not good enough. You know, and if it's me, then get rid of me. But 3,300 people is embarrassing. It really is. If it's me, make the change. If somebody will hire me somewhere, I'll go coach junior college ball again.
And he says after that, those kids could care. We cut it off. Okay. Well, Chad, maybe he's, taking a shot at his own team. This is not what I would do if I was trying to get a contract extension. I'll tell you that much.
Well, I probably wouldn't want to play there anymore. I mean, he called me out like that. I'd be like, whoa, man.
I know.
Doesn't sound like they're going in a good direction anyway if they're in the NIT.
Listen, they were in the Sweet 16 2 years ago. It's not like this is a program that's fallen off. Chad, thank you for the phone call, and congrats to your Badgers. It's not like this program had fallen off a cliff and hasn't been relevant in like years. This is a team that had, success very recently.
Then explain, but 3,300 people at an NIT game, clearly people are not feeling it right now.
Because it's hard, I think, to get people up for the NIT when you were in the Sweet 16 in 2021.
I don't think other schools have that problem with NIT. I'd be shocked if Wisconsin, for example, who's a big basketball school, I think they're going to have 3,000 people at an NIT game. I mean, what else is there to do in Camp Randall or whatever it is? Yeah.
That's not the name.
The stadium.
It's the football stadium.
Right. What's the name of the town? Oh, yeah. Madison, Wisconsin. They're going to get, I'll bet you that
what
is
does
the
there do
smallest
with
NIT
Madison?
crowd.
Tons of stuff. Thriving bar scene.
So, 3,000, that doesn't strike you as a program that is on the decline?
Well, they might be looking for a new head coach soon. Let's get to our Cowboys quickie for today. things for you. Number one, good news for Cowboys fans. Tony Pollard has signed his franchise tag. So you're good. You got Tony Pollard, $10 million. I know he's coming off an ankle injury. This is probably not bad for Pollard to get $10 million guaranteed.
Did the Cowboys know that 27 high-quality running backs were going to hit the free agent market and go for $3 million a pop before they signed Tony Pollard? Because I wonder about that one.
Well, but Pollard is excellent for this team. You can tell when he got hurt, you know, they were different.
I don't know. It's just so cheap for running backs now. This seems a little crazy to spend $10 million on a guy who's coming off a broken leg.
No, I understand. But he is going to be ready for training camp. I think they wanted him for 1 year. I think that was the big thing. You know, if you don't put the franchise tag on him, then maybe another team comes in and gives him 2 years guaranteed, and then maybe you take that. I think they just, you know, you might be right. It's not great salary cap allocation, but I think they wanted him for just this season. This is also some news. It's like Cowboys adjacent. Zeke Elliott, who's no longer a member of the Dallas Cowboys, Perloff, has reportedly whittled down his future prospects to 3 teams.
Okay.
The New York Jets, not sure if he's on an Aaron Rodgers wish list. The Cincinnati Bengals and your Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
You don't want Zeke?
I do not want Zeke. I can't. I'm just shocked that a guy that slow can play running back in the NFL.
And that's your Cowboys quickie.
Yeah. Honestly, that San Francisco game was so unbelievable. The gigantic holes he was getting because everybody had dropped 15 yards from away from the line of scrimmage, and Zeke could not take advantage. I think he's really good at picking up the blitz.
Yep.
I think he's a good receiver. He does not have that burst anymore.
No, it's over. But the thing is about Zeke, though, it's not going to cost you very much. So you lost Miles Sanders, right?
Right.
So if you want like a little insurance policy, maybe having Zeke Elliott is not a terrible idea.
Yeah, but why don't you just do like the Chiefs and draft a guy in the 6th round and have him be awesome? Isaiah Pacheco, for example.
Yeah.
I know, and you have Rashad Penny, who looks like a star. He often gets hurt. I do agree with that. Yeah.
Were you surprised to see your team in?
No, because we'll see if they actually sign him. I don't know who put that
No, it says
report.
Ezekiel Elliott is deciding between these 3 teams. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see if the Eagles feel the same way as Zeke does about that, or Zeke's agent. By the way, I have attendance at the UAB Vanderbilt game.
Okay.
NIT.
Okay.
So they got 11,000 in Vanderbilt.
Wow.
But that's not that much for me. That's not even, what are you Vandy fans doing? I don't know.
I went to a college where the home court sat 5,000 people. So 11,000 feels like a lot.
Yeah, but I feel like you should sell out an NIT game because what about school pride, no?
You're looking at me like, what? It's not me. I wasn't the one who decided not to go to the Oregon game.
Oklahoma State, North Texas, Mean Green. I can't find attendance on that.
You know, they don't have that detail.
I can't even imagine. I mean, listen, when Oklahoma State plays North Texas, throw out the record book.
Listen, didn't North Texas upset Purdue a couple years ago?
Probably. Yeah, I have no idea how many people went to this. I don't know. Am I with Dana? Is it weird? Am I going anti-crowd here?
You never take on the fans. I just know that. So tonight, the men's NCAA tournament, the Sweet 16. I'm so excited because it starts off with a bang with Michigan State and Kansas State. And, I mean, Kansas State, even though they're a 3 seed, feels like a darling of the tournament. Then Arkansas, UConn. If Arkansas wins again, what article of clothing does Eric Musselman remove after the game?
Well, let's hope it's just a shirt.
I don't want to know. Florida Atlantic, then Tennessee. That game, the final score is going to be 51-50, something like that. Not expecting anything high scoring there. And then the nightcap is Gonzaga and UCLA, which feels like that's always an incredible game.
Yeah, rooting hard for Gonzaga, and you know why?
Your wife's bracket.
My wife's bracket, and her whole mood is set on her bracket. She has Gonzaga winning it all. It's her only Final Four team alive. I have UCLA going to the Final Four, but I think for harmony in the household, we need the Zags to show up. I don't know if she knows a single player on the team.
We all appreciate your sacrifice there.
Yeah. My bracket, I have the Bruins moving ahead, but I'm rooting hard for the Zags tonight.
I really find it amazing that your wife generally does not watch college basketball, yet now is so invested in her bracket.
Well, because she heard on the show and people were tweeting at her that she was last in the entire bracket. So that became noteworthy. She's like, I don't want to be made fun of here. Since then, she's increased or moved up. What's the right word? She's not last.
Okay. I thought you meant like she's increased her fandom or
No. She's moved up a little bit in the bracket. I get that. If it's a big, you don't want to be last in the bracket.
I was last in the bracket last year. I know exactly what she's talking about.
That's a very small bracket, to be fair.
Yeah, it's grown though.
Yeah. Last year's bracket, you were last, but there weren't a lot of people. To be last in this one is kind of noteworthy.
Yeah, you don't want to be last. Well, okay, we're all Zags fans, and I guess tonight just for Sarah.
Yeah, let's root for the Zags. Come on, Sarah's a really nice person.
She is. Okay, that's it. We got to say goodbye. Thank you, Mike Samter. Thank you, Stu Kovacs. Thank you to Jim Nagy, who joined us from Alabama's Pro Day. That was very fun. To the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers in the chat, you moist weirdos. We appreciate you. The callers as well. Enjoy the Sweet 16. We'll see you tomorrow.